Labor Day weekend, and that means rivalries. On Monday, the streaking Argos visit Hamilton to square off for Ontario bragging rights. Then it's off to Calgary as the best in the West continue the Battle of Alberta. Will Sunday bring the Blue Bombers their first victory, or will the Riders start to turn it around? Tonight, Damon Allen may be under the gun, but the Lions defense will feel the heat from rushing leader Mike Pringle. The Labor Day Weekend Classic kicks off tonight on the CFL Live. They're running the Molson Indy in Vancouver this weekend, but tonight it's the Lions and Als revving their engines on the CFL Live. Hi, everybody. I'm James Duffy, along with Eric Tillman and nobody. Yes, Schultze has abandoned us tonight. We're trying not to take it personal. Actually, Schultze will be in Saskatchewan tomorrow in the booth calling the Saskatchewan-Winnipeg game. So it's just you and me, kid, tonight. And
just us.
We have a couple of interesting teams, the Alouettes, who are rolling, and the BC Lions, who are reeling. What a bizarre week in BC.
Oh, a tough situation in Vancouver, James. You know, this week we saw the resignation of one of the really nice guys associated with the Canadian Football League, Adam Rita. But as I've said many times, it's a performance-based business, and the 3-6 start was just absolutely worst-case scenario for the BC Lions. You know, entering the season, this team had a high level of optimism. They were very active in the free agent market, and I think they thought they had a chance for a winning season and possibly even an opportunity to host a playoff game. That's something they haven't done in Vancouver in a long time. The bottom line, though, is this team underachieved badly.
Now, when I heard the name Mons, I was thinking, wonderful Mons, the old Ottawa Rough Rider. Who is Greg Mons, and why Greg Mons?
Well, that's a good question, James, and it's one that a lot of people asked this week. But in talking to David Braley yesterday, a couple of things became apparent very quickly. One, I think he did not want to disrupt the coaching staff too much, change too many responsibilities. Secondly, David Braley has an awful lot of confidence in Greg Mons and his ability to evaluate talent and to make decisions and changes if necessary. David Braley's a great owner, and he wants to win in BC. There's one thing he asks of his players, and that's effort, and I don't think he's been getting that. As Glenn Suter said earlier in the week, and I think this is a good way to put it, the country club atmosphere in Vancouver is over.
Still seemed like a surprising decision, because on a team that seems to have about 20 assistant coaches, they pick a guy who hasn't been a coach in almost 20 years. Now, for more on the game tonight, let's send you out to Vancouver. Here are Rod Smith and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, James. With the coaching change here in BC, emotions running a little higher with the Lions. A lot of the players feeling they let Adam Rita down. And because of it, I would think it's incumbent on the Alouettes to do something about that, stall that emotion early on.
Absolutely. Anytime you make a coaching change at mid-season, I think the very next game, the team is going to come out of the chute fired up. For Montreal to win, they're going to have to take the wind out of the sails of the BC Lions early, and they can do that by scoring first. They also have to keep Damon Allen in the pocket. Damon Allen is most effective when he's outside the pocket, running and throwing the football on the run. And they have to avoid the big letdown. Last week, the Montreal Alouettes beat Calgary in probably their best performance to a man on the season. They have to be careful that they don't let down in this game tonight.
Well, the Alouettes have proven that you can win in this league with a running game. They have the devastating Mike Pringle. It's pretty obvious what BC has to do to have a chance in this game.
No question, Rod. I think any team facing the Montreal Alouettes, their #1 goal is to try and contain Mike Pringle. You cannot stop Mike Pringle, but you want to try and hold him to under 100 yards, which is much easier said than it is done. They have to convert in the red zone. The BC Lions have not scored a touchdown in 10 quarters of football, and they have to jam the slots. Last week, Climie and Armstrong had a big game against Calgary, combining for 150 yards. They have to get their hands on those guys and not let them run routes clean.
The last time these two teams met about a month ago at Molson Stadium in Montreal, it was the Alouettes winning it by 6. Well, they've won 4 straight now heading into the second half of the season. The hottest team going, led by the hottest running back, Mike Pringle, 16 yards shy from another 1,000-yard season. James, Eric, that studio must seem awfully big now that the big guy's gone.
Yes, we have all sorts of space. We're reclining, enjoying ourselves. And, you know, and sometimes we order pizza during the game. There might even be some left for Eric and I this week. We have the Lions and Owls coming right up. And if you don't know who this guy is, well, you're not alone. Yeah, it's Greg Mons, the new coach of the Lions, hoping his team can turn things around against the Owls. Kickoff is coming up.
There are times when it becomes a battle of will. When gaining ground means losing blood. When exhilaration meets exhaustion. When the vision of your goal is blurred only by the tears in your eyes. And either you have it in you, or you don't. Gatorade. Is it in you?
One of a kind. This is a very sensitive environment. I'm an environmental biologist and I work for Mobil. When oil is found in a place like Newfoundland, you have to be careful because the sea, the wildlife, but also this culture is very unique, rich in traditions. It takes a lot of communication between Mobil, our partners, and the community. When the Hibernia platform was towed up, it was a great day here. I'm really proud about the homework that Mobil has done. We work very hard to make sure that we are welcome guests in this country.
Onto the roof at BC Place Stadium and getting set for the start to the second half of the 1998 CFL season. BC Lions won a Grey Cup in '94 under this man, Dave Ritchie, but now very successful with the Alouettes. 20 wins, 7 losses in his second season now. Coming into this one, his record is 7-2, and there's the new coach of the BC Lions.
The new sheriff in town, Greg Mons. His only head coaching experience was back in 1980-81 at Ventura College. Where is Ventura College, you ask? Well, it's in California. It's a junior college. Not a lot of experience, but in 3 days here in BC, he has created a sense of urgency for the BC Lions. They are playing for their jobs tonight.
Not experienced as a pro head coach, but very experienced as a player personnel director with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, later with Memphis, with the Toronto Argonauts in their Grey Cup winning year of '96. And the second half of the CFL season is underway. Thomas Haskins taking Louis Pasaglia's kick and getting hit a few times on his way down at the 35-yard line. It's Kelly Luckbaum finally lowering the last palm on Haskins. And Tracy Ham and the Owls offense to go to work, and a lot of targets there. Of course, Mike Pringle. They love to run the football. #1 running offense in the CFL, but he has great slot backs, of course, in Jock Climby and Chris Armstrong. And up front, big offensive line, of course, the big right tackle, over 350 pounds, Neil Ford. 1st and 10. Alouettes at the 37-yard line. Ham standing under center to lead the attack, and you know they're going to be handing off a lot today. Mike Pringle with the carry, the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League. And as we mentioned in the opening, just 16 yards shy heading into this game of another 1,000-yard season.
Defense for the BC Lions up front. They're led by Dave Chaters, who already has 8 sacks. Greg Mons wasted no time making changes in the secondary. Bruce Dixon and Jocelyn Borgella are gone. Joseph and Rogers anchor the secondary.
2nd and 5 for the Alouettes. And they dump it off to the side. Michael Souls can't hang on to it. And he had some yardage ahead for a first down. Instead, the Alouettes will be punting.
I think Michael Solz just got caught peeking down the field, deciding where he wanted to run before he secured the football. You come out of the backfield, little swing pass. He's going to take a peek down the field and just doesn't hang on. He had a little running room down the field too, Rod. If he hangs on to that one, he's got a first down, no question.
I think you're right. He might have been looking ahead of that, and you give Michael Solz a bit of a steam. He can pick up a lot of yardage. It's Terry Baker inside his 30 to get this away. Some pressure and a beautiful spiral. The chase has brought Harris back to his 10. Harris gets across to about the 23-yard line. And a 57-yard punt by Terry Baker, leading that BC Lions offense. Exactly for how long, we don't know. Damon Allen has been in all year. Adam Rita had a lot of patience with him, and that's one of the criticisms that Rita had to incur. And Greg Mons had said that he will not hesitate to put in the back of Danny Barrett, even though Barrett has not played since 1996 with Calgary. That offense he has. Jim Sandusky still in there at wide out, and up front, the change at right tackle, Corey Mantika in for Jeff Jones. 1st and 10. The Lions offense has been in question much of the year, the least productive in the Canadian Football League. And they hand off right away. It's Juan Johnson with the football, gets up over across the 25-yard line.
Well, defense for the Montreal Alouettes led up front by Alfred Payton, who is co-leader in the sacks department with 11 so far on the season. Stephon Reed had a big game last week versus Calgary. He's in the middle of that linebacking core. And in the secondary, it's Tom Europe at safety. Baron Miles already has 4 interceptions on the season. And the bookends are Irv Smith and Douglas Pratt.
2nd and 7. First drive of the game for Damon Allen and the BC Lions. Backfield clears and he'll throw. Can't find a man and steps up. And good containment on the part of the Alouettes inside. And that first drive is going nowhere. BC will be kicking.
Well, I've known Damon Allen for a long time, and talking to him yesterday, it seemed like he really had that sense of urgency that I mentioned at the beginning of the game. Damon Allen mentioned to me, he said, in 14 years of my career, I have never felt like I was playing for my job. He said, right now, I feel like I am.
That is a rarity for him. He's had success just about everywhere he has been, including here in BC leading up to this year. Louis Pasaglia now standing inside his 15-yard line to get this one away. Chris Wright comes up for it. He gets it, flags down for no yards and up near midfield. So good field position because of about a 20-yard difference in punting. Alouettes in good shape to take over.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you could win $1 million if 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in today's game. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
It's the way we welcome the sun with 35 sunblock. The way some of the best water now mostly comes in bottles. It's the way we make time for exercise and like to enjoy reading. Today, more and more people are finding reasons to take better care of themselves. That's why Subway offers 7 subs, each under 6 grams of fat. Because when you're through surfing, you might want to go for a swim. Subway, it's the way a sandwich should be.
Welcome to Nanaimo, home of the bar, and Vern Goldsberry's Midas.
Vern over there at Midas, he saves me quite a bit of money. It's not like I'm a philanthropist.
Vern is an honest guy, and it's got breath that's very minty.
Midas does a good job at a fair price and has a nice current selection of magazines.
Sometimes I see Vern coming off the ferry, and I say, hey, Vern.
Hi, I'm Vern Goldsberry, and this is my family.
Car care, dental care, it's all about trust.
The sea is a cruel mistress, but Vern is kind.
Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Gatorade. Is it in you? And by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends. See you tonight.
Back in Vancouver, the Alouettes about to scrimmage for the 2nd time early on in this game. A scoreless game and good field position for Montreal. Thanks to a shorter punt by Louis Pasaglia and a no-yard penalty. They are well inside Lions territory at the 47.
Talk about one of the keys for the Montreal Alouettes was not to overlook the BC Lions. They've struggled. See the Alouettes, their point production down a little bit this week, but or this year, excuse me, but They're happy as long as the W's are still on the board.
And that's the knack of the Montreal teams, including last year. You could find it misleading to see the points for and against, but in the end, a lot of W's go up. 7 of them against 2 losses this year. Hand off to Pringle. Big room up the middle. This is what he does best, busting his way down to the BC 31.
Well, Mike Pringle usually is his own blocker because he runs over people, but this time there was a huge hole to the right side. You see Neil Fort collapsing the whole right side of that defensive line, and Pringle isn't touched till he gets into the secondary.
A gain of 15 yards. The Alouettes are in business. Approaching the BC 30. Ham throws. It's complete. And down to the 25-yard line for Matt Cody. The ex-Hamilton Tiger Cat who's missed a couple of games this year. Brought in as a free agent in the offseason.
Yeah, he hurt his ankle in the game against the Edmonton Eskimos in Commonwealth Stadium. Looked like a real bad injury, but he has recovered. And they love having him. Great work ethic from Matt Cody. Doesn't say a whole lot, but he is working hard every single practice and every single play.
4th year at Memphis State. It's 2nd and 3 from the 25. They hand it off again. Pringle. And this time a good job by the Lions to stub it up. It's David Benefield now wearing number 56. And Jason Bryant in on the tackle on that short yardage play.
Well, it's the backside of the play. You're going to see David Benefield from the top of your screen. He's just going to collapse down. His job is to make sure Tracy Ham doesn't have the ball, make sure he has contained. Once he notices that the ball's been handed off, then collapse down and try and get involved in the tackle. Benefield was right there to grab Mike Pringle as he tried to cut back.
Mike Pringle now has 1,000 yards again. Remarkable. And the one year, this is 4 times in the last 5 years in his great career, and the one time he didn't, it was pretty understandable, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was only here for half a season. He was in the NFL for half the year and had close to 1,000 yards in just 8 games, I believe, that year with Montreal. And, you know, I did a little research, and Mike Pringle has rushed for more yards than anyone else in all of football. Barry Sanders is the #1 rusher in the States the last 4 years, while Pringle has more yards than he does.
That was a first down, and Ham throws on it. Nearly caught, nearly picked off, falls incomplete down near the BC goal line. Intended for Chris Armstrong on the play.
Glenn Rogers Jr. has always been one of the vocal leaders for the BC Lions and was very vocal when Adam Rita resigned as the head coach. He said that there's some players that haven't been working hard enough, and it was Glenn Rogers who steps up and pulls that ball out of there, knocks it down, and Glenn Rogers gets pumped up afterwards. Nice close. Ham had to try and really thread the needle in there, but Rogers pulls it out.
2nd and 10 now at the 22-yard line. Flags on the play. Ham still under pressure. Johnny Scott has him. And then Herman Smith finishes the job, sacking Tracy Ham.
Offside. BC number 91.
And Herman Smith, who finished off that sack, ends up being called on the offside. And how costly is that? As they advance it 5 yards, making it 2nd and 5 now instead of a field goal situation.
We talked about the emotion level. Greg Mons knows his team is going to be jacked up. The one concern you have when they come out fired up like that is that they'll be a little too antsy to get after it. And I think that Herman Smith just had to control a little bit more than that.
So the Alouettes get a break on the offside. The 2nd and 5 for 17 on the option. And Ham will keep it himself and get close to first down yardage. I believe he will be just shy. Jason Bryant and Rashid Gale in the tackle of Tracy Ham.
It's the straight option to the outside. It's a great play when you have a running quarterback like Tracy Ham and Mike Pringle behind him, because you have to, of course, respect both of them. The downside is for the Alouettes that Tracy Ham is going to take a pretty big hit, and he did on that play.
Known for running the football in the top 10 all time as a rusher, and of course 2nd behind Damon Allen among rushing QBs for 200 yards this year heading into this game. As the sticks come out again, a lot of close calls. They won the last one, picking up the first down in a very close one. Dave Ritchie wanted to know just how far is it on the 3rd down and short, which is what it appears it will be.
Interesting. You mentioned that Dave Ritchie was, of course, not asked to come back after 1994 when he took the BC Lions to the Grey Cup and won it. And I asked him yesterday whether or not he still sort of thinks about that in the back of his mind. He said, nope. The very next game I was in BC Place, it was forgotten already.
Well, since taking over as a head coach in Montreal, he has not lost to the BC Lions. Beat them twice last year in the regular season. Of course, 45-35 in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, he did mention to me it was their loss.
Third and short. And Ham on the keeper gets it across and should have a Montreal first down. It was just inches to go. Ritchie moved over to the Alouettes when they moved from Baltimore to Montreal as an assistant in 1996 and took over the head coaching job in 97. And you saw the record we showed you before, a 20-7, 13-5 last year, losing a close one by just a touchdown to the Argos, who went on to win the Grey Cup.
Yeah, his record really does speak for itself. When he was an assistant coach in Ottawa, running the Ottawa defense in 1992, his defense led 21 and 25 categories.
They fake the handoff and dump it out. Mike Soul, touchdown, Alouettes. And if BC hoped that emotion would lead to an early edge, that has been diffused by Ham and the Alouettes here.
And that's what Dave Ritchie wanted, to go and score first and try and take some of the wind out of the sails of the BC Lions. He knows that they were going to be pumped up for this one with the coaching change, and exactly what he wanted to do was score first.
And so a tough start for Greg Mons in his first game as a CFL head coach, seeing his team fall behind by 6, and Terry Baker hasn't missed one this year, makes it 7. Still 100% on the converts. Souls puts the Owls on the board first. Montreal ahead by 7.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
What makes Ford trucks so tough? Maybe it's the choice of 3 powerful Triton engines. What makes Ford tough to beat? How about more choice of pickups than any other truck lineup in North America? And what makes Ford F-Series the #1 selling truck line in Canada for 32 years running? Hard-working Canadians who need tough, versatile trucks for work and for play. Built Ford tough.
It's the way we welcome the sun with 35 sunblock. The way some of the best water now mostly comes in bottles. It's the way we make time for exercise and like to enjoy reading. Today, more and more people are finding reasons to take better care of themselves. That's why Subway offers 7 subs, each under 6 grams of fat. Because when you're through surfing, you might want to go for a swim. Subway, it's the way a sandwich should be.
This scoring drive is brought to you by Chrysler Canada. Chrysler, we're not just building cars and trucks, we're building Canada. 7 plays, 47 yards, and capped off by the Michael Souls catch for the touchdown.
How big was the penalty to Herman Smith?
Absolutely huge.
Yeah, offside penalty would have been in field goal position, and instead it's 7 points.
The penalty certainly cost BC 4 points anyway, and now down by 7. Souls, Montreal native, played for McGill and playing in that stadium again now. We had so many great days. College ball. Terry Baker to kick it off here at BC Place. And it'll be Rod Harris settling at the 10 court. Tries up the middle, and he is met by a couple of Owls and taken down just shy of the 35.
All right, let's go back to that touchdown, because it was a great play by Ben Cahoon from the wide receiver position. Cahoon is on the outside. Now he's going to come across the middle on the post pattern. Now hold it right there. Watch Ben Cahoon. He's going to come over and pick off Dale Joseph. Dale Joseph can't fight through it. Come up and tackle Michael Souls, and he can find the end zone.
And for Souls, his second touchdown of this game. Ben Cahoon, boy, they were very happy with him, picking him up in the Canadian draft, adding him. Great talent at a BYU. Here's Damon Allen.
with the fake and rolling to his right. And finds a man. It's Al Shipman. First down BC up over the 45.
That's when Damon Allen is at his best, when he can turn and run and throw on the run. Damon Allen takes this one in the full sprint to the outside. He's got help from Dan Payne, number 57, who's pulling out in front of him right there. Payne's going to take Gravely out of the picture, and Damon Allen has the great sight lines downfield to find Al Shipman.
Put Shipman over 300 yards receiving. He had 299 coming in. That's a gain of 13 and a 1st and 10 BC up at their 47-yard line. The handoff to Juan Johnson, and Johnson busted up over the 50-yard line. Juan Johnson filling in for Robert Drummond. Drummond, just a terrible story. First of all, getting injured, and then his father tragically shot and killed in Syracuse, New York last week. And Robert Drummond, wanting to get away from it all, came back to BC. And that's where, of course, he got the news about Adam Rita leaving, and then he's, of course, back in Syracuse now for the funeral.
Yeah, he's in Syracuse now, and of course our thoughts and prayers with the Drummond family.
Absolutely. A very, very difficult time for Robert Drummond. On second down, Juan Johnson takes it, but picks up barely a yard shy of midfield, and BC with better field position, but will be punting again.
Well, we've talked all season about the offense that Damon Allen has been running, and you know, some people and the critics of Adam Rita say that the one mistake that he made, and one of the reasons that he had to resign or was asked to resign, or depends on who you ask when you talk about that story, but was that Damon Allen has not been successful running the spread offense. He likes to run it, but I think he's more successful in the two-back offense, like he ran in Edmonton.
Nice punt by Pasaglia, chasing the Owls, and Chris Wright down to the 5. A 49-yard punt for Louis Pasaglia, and this time Montreal won't have a great place to start like they did their last drive. 7-0 Alouettes.
Sumptuous coffee crisp. Bubbly cool peppermint arrow. Playful little Smarties. Tantalizing creamy Oreos. Smushed into a cup of soft serve, it's the McFlurry at McDonald's.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
The Brawn. The Braves.
I was off the chart on verbal skills.
The Babe.
We need to get cleaned out.
If they can just stand each other.
She looks good when she's mean.
No one else stands a chance.
Oh, I like this.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Rob Schneider. Layla Rashawn. Knockoff. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
Welcome back to BC Plays. Alouettes with the lead. Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, and David Pratt is here as well, down on the sideline. David?
Thank you, Rod. The BC Lions, thanks to the NFL cuts, are going to be getting some help on offense, and they're going to get it real soon. Alfred Jackson is back from his NFL tryout. He is here at BC Place right now. He's not talking to the media. In fact, he's not talking to anyone, but he is expected to sign a contract within the next day or two, and the Lions are hoping to get him back into the lineup as early as next week. Rod?
Thank you, David. Glenn, what an addition that is, because that has been the problem for that offense, especially a go-to guy like he was last year.
Absolutely, and a deep threat that Damon Allen has confidence in, and Alfred Jackson would definitely be that guy.
Their top receiver last year, he had some big games in 97. Dave Chater's in the action there, and Jason Bryant running through. Flags down before the ball is snapped.
Illegal procedure. Montreal 68. Still first down.
Looks like Brian Chew didn't get the snap count. Tracy Ham barked out the signals, but the ball was not snapped. Mike Sutherland was saying, no, that one was on 3. Brian Chew thought it was on 2.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, that's not good.
So 1st and 15. Alouettes hem deep in their own zone. They hand off. Pringle. Not much doing, but boy, can he break a tackle. And he does make something out of nothing, as he so often does.
His second effort is unbelievable. You mean the first tackler never brings Mike Pringle down. It just doesn't happen. He ran into a wall of defenders led by Benefield and Johnny Scott right there. Chaders was also involved and just kept churning for a couple extra yards.
He had a big game here at BC Place last year. Ran for 3 touchdowns. Ham under pressure, gets out and picks up a Montreal first down. So they start from terrible field position, but they've made something out of it now. A gain of 12 yards for Tracy Ham.
Well, it was good coverage downfield by the secondary of the BC Lions. Tracy Ham looks to his left and he can't see anything. There's no receivers open. So he's going to take off and run through this lane right here that opens up for him, that offensive line, and away he goes. That's the extra dimension that a running quarterback can give you.
Ham, the second leading rusher on the Alouettes, a far cry behind, of course, number 27, but known to run the football and run it effectively, just like this guy. Off tackle, and more yardage for Mike Pringle up across the 25.
Well, you mentioned that he is already over 1,000 yards, Rod, and second place goes to Kelvin Anderson in Calgary, over 450 yards back.
Now that is dominant. Single season rushing record in the Canadian Football League in 1994 with Baltimore. 1,972 yards, just 28 shy of 2,000. That one intended for Chris Armstrong up near the Alouette 50, but too much on it, and it falls incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down, and Terry Baker will be coming on to punt again.
Well, like they've done most of the season, the BC Lions defense had done their job. They came out and let Tracy Ham out of the hole he was in, backed up against his goal line, but they did stop and force the Owls to punt. And they will get pretty good field position depending on where Rod Harris can take this one back to.
Well, Baker averaging just over 45 yards a punt as you look at Rod Harris.
Back it up.
But earlier in this game, Baker had one of 57. Made quite a difference.
Lions ball. Still with it. Dale Joseph has it. And BC is in business.
When you're struggling as a team, you need a spark, whether it's an interception for a touchdown or a big play on special teams. And there was no question that this was going to be an all-out rush by the BC Lions on the punt team, and here it comes. Team meeting back at Terry Baker. The punt is blocked by Sean Graham. Dale Joseph comes up with it, and it's a huge play for the BC Lions to get them some momentum and some great field position.
No one had Graham. Sailed straight in, untouched, and has set up his team at the Alouette 10. 1st and goal. This is the break this BC team has needed. Let's see if they can capitalize. Allen, complete. Juan Johnson. Johnson and the Lions hit Painters.
Well, they snapped the drought. We mentioned at the beginning of the game, the BC Lions have not scored a touchdown in 10 quarters of football. They snapped the drought.
The last touchdown scored by Jim Sandusky was in Winnipeg 3 weeks ago. A game that BC ultimately came back and won, although just barely over the Bombers. But then the drought. First against Calgary and then last week against Hamilton. But they have another major, and they have converted it thanks to Louis Pasaglia, and we have a tie game. Hey, there's reason to celebrate and reason to climb here in Vancouver. Working his way up the pole.
Well executed play by Damon Allen. He's going to go out, drop straight back, hit Juan Johnson coming out of the backfield, and Stephon Reed, who's a little bit nicked, playing hurt in this game, was nicked in the Calgary game last week. Cannot get to the outside. Juan Johnson is in the end zone.
And Johnson has done a great job, as mentioned before, filling in for Robert Drummond. Last week in Hamilton, he picked up over 100 yards rushing, 104 to be exact, and shows he can
make it work catching footballs as well, getting his team back into a tie here against Montreal.
I think the most important part of that is for the BC Lions is that they now will get some confidence back. I mean, if you go a couple of games without scoring a touchdown, you start to wonder if you can. All it takes is one or two early in a football game to give you that confidence back. And then you get on a roll.
Well, 2 weeks ago here at BC Place, it was an embarrassment for the Lions. Their worst loss ever at home when they were beaten by the Stampeders 55-9. And last week, Dave Ritchie's Alouettes beat the Stamps by 8. So that would give you every reason to think Montreal might come in here and roll. But so far, BC is holding its own and responding after the Alouettes had taken the lead. Casaglia to kick it off. And a 7-7 tie. Gets away from Wright. Goes right by him and into the end zone. And Chris Wright has no choice as he watches it roll out of bounds. So the momentum swing is definite. As Dave Ritchie looks on. And the key play.
Well, when you get a big play on special teams, like the Lions do from Sean Graham on the block punt, Dale Joseph picks it up, and you got to capitalize. Got to take advantage of it right away. And one play later, Damon Allen found Juan Johnson for the touchdown pass.
And because that ball had touched Chris Wright, instead of sailing in untouched, it does, of course, go with a single point and come out to the 35-yard line. So the Lions taking the 8-7 lead. A look at special teams coach Frank Smith talking things over with Greg Mons. Dave Ritchie earlier talked about facing an emotional BC team.
We come in and take care of our own business, and that's all we've done all week is just taking care of our business and what we want to do, offensive, defensive, and special teams. Then they can do whatever they want to do. As long as we're in sync, then we've got a chance.
And Dave Ritchie understanding the emotion of all that, the turbulent times the team can go through with a coaching change. Actually, reasons to smile on the BC bench there.
Well, it's early. Lou Casaglia, little smile, got the good bounce. It's interesting, though, Dave Ritchie was talking about how he felt bad for Adam Rita, and he, of course, has been in that position before. And he said, you know, I just can't believe that we have to be the team to come in here and face him after the change.
No team, regardless of how good they are, likes to be in that situation. Ham rolls out to his left and completes it to Chris Armstrong. Big catch to the Lions 50 and a first down Montreal. A gain of 25 yards.
Well, it's tough to cover a guy like Chris Armstrong when he's running all the way across the field. And because Ham got to the outside, you see Armstrong started at the other numbers. The opposite side of the field, ran all the way across, and Dale Joseph was in the chase position.
Of course, starting the season with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers got let go. And Ritchie was more than happy to bring him back. The fake. And Ham gets away from it, eluding David Benefield and taking off. Benefield thought he had him, but didn't. Ham with some great running and gets across the 40 down close to the 35. A 13-yard pickup and another first down for the Alouettes.
Well, that's a tough position for David Benefield to be in. He's got the contain to the outside, and he just got in the one-on-one with one of the all-time best running quarterbacks in the game, and Tracy Ham. I mean, watch Ham throw the fake on David Benefield to the outside. He's going to get out there, fakes our camera guy a little bit, makes a little move on David Benefield, gets outside him, and then it's a foot race.
A fake to Mike Pringle. You've always got to take that seriously as Pringle runs again this time. But if you're going to, I mean, the ultimate play-action guy would be Mike Pringle. A defense has to respect him, I would think.
No question about it. You're telling the front four all week when they're game planning that, listen, you guys take care of your gaps on every single play. And what that means is that the guys up front, Benefield, Chater, Scott, and Herman Smith, can't just pin their ears back and take off on the pass rush. They have to respect the run.
proved that more than any team in the CFL as Ham throws. And they say no good. Armstrong says yes, he did catch it, but no, they wave it off. And Tracy Ham can't believe it. He thought he had a catch.
Well, you get to be the official. It's a low throw, and Armstrong has to slide to get it, and that's tough.
Looked to be trapped, actually. Looked like he just had it.
Noah Cantor kind of got in the way, but here's another angle of it. Yeah, it looked like it skipped off the ground. Official right on the spot, had the perfect view of it.
So Terry Baker will try a field goal. His first attempt, he has nailed 13 straight after a rough start to the season. This one from the 39. Lots of distance, and it's good. So he has 14 of his last 14 tries. He's been perfect in that span of time, and he gives the Alouettes another lead, this time just by 2 at 10-8. Yeah, Baker went through a stretch where he was only 2 for 9. He started the season, first game in Winnipeg, 4 for 4, and then he went into a bit of a slump, as a lot of kickers in the CFL did at that time.
Well, last year he had 2 different holders. The year before that he had 4 different holders. You need consistency from the center to the holder to the kick, and Terry Baker has had Lance Funderburg as his holder throughout the season. And I think it's really starting to help.
You would know. You used to be a holder, of course, for Dave Ridgway in Saskatchewan. That chemistry is very important.
Absolutely.
On the first down for the Lions, up over the 40-yard line.
It really is, Rod, because for a kicker, he wants to concentrate on the job at hand. He wants to stay focused, keep his head down, and stroke through the football. He doesn't want to have to worry about the hold and whether or not it'll be there.
About 6 yards for Juan Johnson on the play. If you look at Terry Baker, former Saskatchewan Rough Rider and Ottawa Rough Rider.
Yeah, when we talked to Dave Ritchie about Baker's bad start, he said he's a professional and he'll work his way through, and he certainly has.
Went to school at Mount Allison, Sackville, New Brunswick. That one batted away on second down. Nice job by Torrey Hunter to knock it away and create a third down for BC.
Well, Torrey Hunter's just going to drop into the zone. He makes it look like man, looking right at him, picks on the curl, and then comes out of that break quickly and actually beat the receiver, Eddie Brown, to the ball.
An ex-Alouette, Eddie Brown, starting his season in Montreal, and with Chris Armstrong available, that's when they let Eddie Brown go. Louis Pasaglia standing back inside his 30 to get this one away. Not so deep this time, and takes a Montreal roll right at the 40. Picked up Thomas Haskins, and gets up to the Alouette 50-yard line. So it'll be good field position thanks to just a 29-yard punt by Louis Pasaglia.
Tracy Ham licking his chops when he sees field position like that.
3 for 7, 42 yards. Ham didn't play in Montreal's win over BC a month ago, still out with the hyperextended knee that he suffered against the Edmonton Eskimos. It was Anthony Calvillo twice, so the first meeting this year of Ham and the guy he was a teammate with in Edmonton all those years ago, it seems, back in 1987 with the Edmonton Eskimos. Damon Allen, his counterpart here tonight. Good place to start. Pringle's got it. Busts open. Cuts back. Midfield. Flag down. Pringle has a good gain, but we'll see what this flag is about. Close to first down yardage for Montreal.
Great block by Brian Chu, who was the pulling guard on the play to spring Mike Pringle.
First down repeated.
Although it won't matter because Chris Armstrong got the holding call, but it was a really nice block downfield by Brian Chu.
So instead of being close to first down yardage, the line of scrimmage will go back to the Alouette 40, where it will be first and 20. Seconds to go here on the scoreboard clock at BC Place. The Alouettes up by 2. They started strong, but BC came back. After a key turnover, a block punt. Sideline pass to Matt Cody, and he picks up 5 of those 20 yards, gets it up around the 45-yard line. It'll be second and long, Alouettes.
Well, that's the situation where you just hope that Matt Cody can break a couple of tackles and move it down the field, try and pick up as many as you can to get yourself into a second and 12 or 13.
This will be the final play of the first quarter out of the shotgun. Once again, rolling left and completing it to Ben Cahoon, but well shy of a first down as the ball rolls out of bounds. Through 15 minutes, the Alouettes have the lead, but it's a slim one, 10-8. Back to CFL Live Control and James Duffy.
You're watching CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Here's your host, James Duffy.
All right, welcome back to Football Control. And yeah, they're not ahead, but you have to like the way the BC Lions are playing. And I like the decision to send everybody on that punt. Maybe it's not Greg Mond's call. We're not sure about that. But you take a chance. You're 3-6. Why not? And it turns into a touchdown. Pretty impressive first quarter from the Lions.
Yeah, it's a good start for BC, you know, and a nice recovery for Montreal. You know, this was potentially a dangerous situation for the Owls. Last week they had a big win against the Calgary Stampeders at home, and then tonight they had to travel across 3 time zones and kick off at a time when most of the players are asleep, or at least most of the coaches anyway. And for a while there, they looked like they were asleep. But, you know, I think that, James, an interesting note about this game tonight is that Dave Ritchie has not lost to the BC Lions since he left there in 1995.
So, like Don Matthews said he'd never lose to Hamilton again, as Dave Ritchie said that?
Well, Don was a little bit more bold. I think Don said, I will never lose to Hamilton again in my lifetime. Dave's not quite that bold or outspoken, but I tell you what, the way they're playing right now and the way they've done the last 2 or 3 years, I think they had the same thought process.
We can convince him to say it out loud, do you think, or not?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, we'll see if Dave Ritchie can keep his vow to himself. As he said, he hasn't said it out loud just yet as we get to second quarter action. Let's send it back to Vancouver. Here's Rod Smith and Glenn Suter.
Okay, thank you, James. Looking at Mo Elouanibi, their left offensive tackle, one of the many Lions players who really took it to heart when Adam Rita decided to step aside.
This was a shock to me when I found out. I think because I know what part I had in getting him fired or getting him to resign. And I know the kind of man he is, how proud he is about his team, and the way he practices and the way he runs a team, and how he feels that we didn't live up to that faith that he had in us. And this maybe, you know, this is his message to us that maybe you need somebody else to take you. And you know, it hurts that we let it come to that. And it's you know, I feel sad. I feel the part that I had in it.
Heads up.
I'm going to miss him.
Expressing the sentiments of, I'm sure, most or all of his Lions teammates that felt so responsible for not getting a coach fired. I mean, who knows what actually happened, but getting him to at least step aside.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he said that this will be an emotional game for him, and he wanted to have Adam Rita look at this game and watch Mo Elouanibi play it and say, that was one of my guys, and be proud to say it, and I'm sure he will do that. You know, the BC Lions in their situation right now really need to keep Adam Rita involved in their organization in some capacity, and that's what the talk is, that he'll likely come back after a couple weeks off and take an administration role.
You can tell a lot about a person by what others say about him, and that's the case. Adam Rita, a class act all the way. He certainly has been in his dealings with us. You see Al Shipman on the first down for BC with a short gain for the Lions. In fact, no gain at all. It'll be 2nd and 10. But a lot of these players that felt that way felt very strongly about him. Adam Rita. And Rita himself, according to Greg Mons, actually said that Adam Rita phoned him this morning.
Yeah.
How often do you hear about that? That you know, he steps aside, that guy takes over, and he phoned him just, I guess, to see how nervous he was. So.
Yeah, he called him about 8 o'clock in the morning, and Greg Mons was up for a while, and Adam said, are you up? Are you ready to go? And Greg says, I've been up since 5 o'clock. This is the first time that Greg Mons will ever walk the sidelines as a head coach in professional football. So I would imagine he was a bit nervous this morning, and Adam Rita gave him a call early to just wish him luck, I'm sure.
Actually had a quick embrace at the news conference earlier in the week where Adam had announced his decision to step aside.
Yeah, and in fairness to Greg Mons, I mean, he was asked to take over for the interim, and you know, he's already said that he doesn't want the job next year, that this team will look for a candidate for the long haul and the big picture, and Greg Mons said he'd take over for the remainder of the season, and that's it.
2nd and 10. Damon Allen, 33 yards shy of the 40,000 mark in passing. Rolling out the pass again.
Oh, what a punt. Oh, and what a catch by Sean Graham. Took a licking and just kept going, and out of bounds for a BC first down.
And who was the first guy over there to congratulate him was Greg Mons. What a big hit. Take a listen to this smack on Sean Graham. Oh.
Irv Smith lowering the boom, and you see Graham smiling about it afterwards.
Aaron Miles with a huge hit. Graham had the presence of mind to catch it the second time.
Should give him 2 receptions for that effort. Juan Johnson takes it over the middle for a short gain for BC.
Should give him a Purple Heart for that one. It really was a great catch, because when you get hit like that hard, you're just wondering if everything's okay, if you still have your rib cage. But Graham sees the ball pop up, picks it up, and then gets up and runs again.
Not content to just lie there. And that would have been understandable if he had, but that is perseverance. And one tough football player. On a 2nd and long from the Lions 45 out of the shotgun. 4 to the left for Damon Allen, and he rolls that way. And dumps it off for Graham again. Another first down BC. And Sean Graham's got this drive going on inside the Alouette 45.
Yeah, and this is great Damon Allen. This is vintage Damon Allen. Rolling out to his right, rolling out to his left. He gets outside one of the best rush ends in the game in Alfred Payton. And that really stretches the defense. The secondary is not sure. When do I come up and try and tackle Damon Allen, and when do I stay off into the coverage? That time they guess wrong.
And Damon Allen has just moved into very exclusive company, passing the 40,000-yard barrier with that pass. 40,003. Only 3 others have done that in this great game.
Let me see.
Can you
Ron
guess him?
Lancaster's one of them.
You got it. Over 50,000. He's the leader.
Matt Dunnigan.
Bingo.
Who was the third?
Well, I'll give you a hint. He just left the game last year, and he may go down as one of the
Mr. Flutie
greats of all time. You got it, Doug Flutie. So Damon Allen in the 40,000-yard club. Crazy Ham isn't all too far behind as they hand off on that play. Boy, that's a lot of yards. We were raving about Gizmo Williams last week and returning punts for 10,000. What an incredible milestone that is, that no one else may touch, but 40,000 yards for Damon Allen.
Well, it is incredible, especially when you consider that Damon Allen, whenever you talk about him, you talk about his running ability and how he is the all-time rushing leader for a quarterback. That's some pretty impressive passing numbers as well.
That he can run so much and pass so much. And it comes in a year, really, as you mentioned earlier, that has been the greatest test for him. It has not been a good season. Gets out of trouble there, although he doesn't get out of trouble the second time. Stephon Reed has him wrapped up and taken down at the 30. So a loss of yardage, about 2 yards for the BC Lions and Damon Allen.
Damon Allen was trying to look off the safety Tom Europe and go back to Eddie Brown, who was running a corner pattern but was well covered down the field by Torrey Hunter, so he decides to take off and just try and get what he can. Damon Allen knows that his team is in field goal position right now. Doesn't want to take the loss or make a bad decision and throw an interception.
And so the Lions do get a chance to take the lead once again. They had it briefly at 8-7. Louis Pasaglia, a 37-yard attempt, his longest is 51 this year. They chant Louis, and Lou is good. Louis Pasaglia nails the 37-yarder, and so BC does move ahead on the scoreboard. 11:26 to go till halftime. 11-10.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won the Minolta Dimagepik digital still camera with built-in flash, 1.8-inch color LCD monitor, and 64-image storage. A great way to break into the world of digital photography. Dimagepik from Minolta. It's great fun. Or a set of Revere Pro Line cookware from Corning. Designed for durability and a lifetime of use. Retains moisture, flavor, and nutrients while cooking. Corningware, a balance of practicality and performance. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
Performance that nails you to your seat.
But enough about the high-performance computers Dell built for Ford. What can we build yours to do? Call and for just $32.99 you can own this Dell Dimension XPS with the new Intel Pentium 2 processor at 450 megahertz, 64 megs of SD RAM, 13.6 gig hard drive, Microsoft Office Small Business Edition and Windows 98, a 17-inch monitor, 40x max variable CD-ROM, an 8 megabyte AGP video card, even a US Robotics X2 modem, and 24-hour tech support. The Dell Dimension XPS with the new Intel Pentium 2 processor at 450 megahertz for only $32.99. Let nothing stand between you and pure performance. Be direct. Dell.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Back at BC Place, Tracy Ham and the Owls have been challenged again. The Lions just taking the lead on their last drive with a 37-yard field goal by Louis Pasanglia. So they go to work from the 35. Play action fake. Ham throws complete. Matt Cody, first down Montreal, midfield. And a big play for the Owls as they start their answer.
Play action will not only buy Tracy Ham time, but it'll also create some throwing lanes for him downfield. Look at the throwing lane that Ham has to throw the football. No one in his face. He's got the great sight lines down the field. He can find Matt Cody, who's crossed all the way across the field. When you get that play action, it really spreads you out on defense.
At the 54, Pringle breaks the tackle. How many times do you see this and keeps putting his head down? Finally, Jason Bryant pushes him down in a crowd. About the only way you can take Pringle down at the 50-yard line of BC.
And he's disappointed that he didn't break it. I think everyone had a crack at him. Dale Joseph was the last one from the safety spot, lowers the shoulder and comes up over top. Little help from Jason Bryant. But Pringle just bouncing off tacklers.
Even wrapped up by two other guys in his legs, he's putting his head down and challenging somebody else. And Dale Joseph there. One tough running back, a tank with speed. And one of the best that's ever played in the Canadian Football League, to be sure.
Well, Tracy Ham had to back away from the center. He didn't like what he saw downfield. He didn't like the defense that he saw. The play that he had called wasn't going to work with the defensive set he had in front of him. He didn't have the option of an audible because he was running out of time. Decided to back away and take the loss.
And so it is second and long. 8 yards. Just at midfield under pressure, gets away from it. Ham wide open, but just too far for Pringle. And Pringle had slowed down, and if he'd kept going and hadn't lost his feet, it might have been Pater.
Tracy Ham finds a hole to run in. Dave Chaters gets tied up in the middle with Pierre Verschable. And Ham kind of squeaks right by him before Chaters realizes that he's even there, and then he just overthrows Mike Pringle. It wasn't by a whole lot. Pringle had got in behind the coverage, and Glenn Rogers Jr. had the flat. He had the short zone. Pringle snuck in behind when Ham scrambled. They just couldn't hook it up.
Terry Baker to get it away. And a good punt. After the last one was blocked, Rod Harris lets it go into the end zone. So we should have a tie game here. As yes, he does just go down on one knee. A 64-yard punt with that very generous roll.
Terry Baker was on the dead fly. He knows that Rod Harris is going to wait, try and draw someone into that no-yard zone. So Baker, of course, onside when he punts the ball, took off running, and it's kind of like a pinball going down there. Got hit about 4 times.
And they are discussing something now, the officials there. There was a flag down on the play way back at the midfield mark. About the line of scrimmage.
Institution, BC. Major foul face mask, 0-0 Montreal. First down.
Harold Nash called on the face mask.
Well, they didn't give a BC number, but it was likely the guy that Harold Nash was fighting with down the field. Little holding here, little face mask there. We'll give you one each, and Lions will scrimmage 1st and 10.
And still 11-10 for the Lions. As Dave Ritchie looks on.
Well, the Lions really have come up with a pretty big effort in this first half. I mean, this is a team they're facing in Montreal that really is one of the powerhouses in the Canadian Football League, and with all their changes, they really have come up with a pretty good effort in the first half of this game so far.
Greg Mons wanting some clarification on what just transpired on that Alouette punt. Seems to be a little bit of confusion here as they still continue to discuss things. As I mentioned, it's still indicated that 11-10 on the scoreboard for BC.
He goes right to Frank Smith, who's the special teams coach. Danny Barrett, the offensive coordinator with the pads on, is also involved in the huddle.
Well, no coach seems to be too happy right now in a close football game approaching the midway point here of the second quarter. I don't know what the discussion is about, but it's been going on for some time now at about the 25-yard line. Tom Europe in there talking to referee Dave Ewell.
Well, this one is an emotional affair, and there's a couple of one-on-one battles going on in this game that we're going to keep a close eye on. One is with Dan Payne and Doug Peterson. A little mudslinging going back and forth between the two, and Peterson said some things about Payne, said he was lazy a couple weeks back, and then when he was asked yesterday if you'd like to take back anything he said, no, I think he's lazy.
No, in fact, he added to it. You're right. And Dan Payne obviously was wondering why the shots were being taken, and Mo Eluanibi piped in that he considers it an insult to the whole BC offensive line. But Doug Peterson, a BC native, not retracting in his comments, thinking that Payne, a former Olympic wrestler, is skilled, but just criticizing, I guess, lack of work ethic. So this explains a lot of things, and I was wondering too why they wouldn't put a single point up on the board if the penalties had canceled each other out. And after a long discussion, they will be punting the football again. This is why it took so long and why the discussions went on for such a great period of time. A good 5 minutes of real time here. 9:49 on the clock, and Baker standing back at his 40. They get another one away.
Now they're trying to figure out where the ball should be placed.
And fans are starting to lose a little patience here.
And so they should.
And Dave Ewell gets on the phone, I guess, to get field position clarified. I would think original line of scrimmage and a cancellation of penalties. One was face masking. The other one was illegal substitution.
Alfred Payton wants to know what the heck's going on as well. Dave Ewell went up to the booth to try and get clarification himself. You know you're in trouble then.
And I think everybody's starting to smile now, wondering.
Well, they've moved they put the ball in 4 different places now.
And ultimately it ends up on the Alouette 49-yard line.
The bottom line is they got to get it together because it's slowing down the game. Let's go, boys.
Let's play some football. You're right. I'm sure they feel that way now. Rod Harris standing down at the Lions 10. My goodness. Wow. I haven't had a watch on this, but it feels like about 10 minutes since the last play.
It truly is amazing. I mean, kick the ball. Let's play.
And finally.
There you go.
They get it whistled in. And a little sarcastic cheer from this crowd here at BC Place. Pressure again on Baker. Just about get to it. Harris makes the running catch and gets it up to about the 40-yard line on a 36-yard punt. So the turn of events gives better field position for the BC Lions, and they hang on to their 1-point lead. 9:35 until the half.
Hello there. Welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. Let us update for you the home run derby, shall we? Sammy Sosa trying to keep pace with Mark McGuire. Big Mac belting number 60 this afternoon against the Reds. Sosa and the Cubs in Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. And Sosa 1 for 2 on the night when he comes up in the 6th inning. And he takes the 3-1 pitch from Sean Lawrence deep to right. That is number 58 on the year for Sosa, as he continues to put pressure on McGuire. 20th time this season he and Big Mac have homered on the same day, and he gets the curtain call. Top of 9, Sosa looking for number 59, but he won't get it with a bad strike 3 call. But the Cubs would win the ball game 8-4. Elsewhere around the majors, Montreal getting by Florida 7-1, and the Blue Jays beating the Red Sox 4-3. Roger Clemens with 11 strikeouts for his 13th straight win. We're back to the football game right after this short timeout.
The Molson Canadian Championship Racing Series is headed for Laguna Seca, California. September 13th, get up to speed at the Grand Prix of Monterey. See it, live it, only on TSN.
There was a 5-minute and 38-second delay between punts by Terry Baker, between plays, while the officials sorted it out. We didn't know what was going on. David Pratt has the answer. David?
Really, I thought I'd seen everything until I saw this. Apparently what happened is that the yard markers got moved accidentally, so the official came over here, then had to go up to the in-house video to take a look at the play to find where the ball was originally kicked from. That took them, as you said, 5 minutes, but they finally got it right, and we're back in business.
Thankfully. Thank you, David. 1st and 10 for BC. And they hand off. Juan Johnson tries to power his way over the 40, but he's met by a slew of Alouettes, including big Doug Peterson, number 94. So short gain for BC. Peterson considered by Dave Ritchie, American or Canadian, doesn't matter. He happens to be Canadian, but considers him the best defensive lineman in the CFL.
Well, 6 sacks this year. He had 4 sacks last year, but other than statistics, this guy, play in and play out, is coming hard. He demands the double team. In fact, we're seeing a couple of great Canadian defensive linemen in this game. Doug Peterson when Montreal's on defense, and of course Dave Chaters when the Lions defense is on the field. They had a nice chat before the game that I was eavesdropping on, talking about.
I've noticed you do that a bit.
Yeah, talking about what they said and what actually Doug Peterson said about Dan Payne. He certainly wasn't pulling any punches in that conversation either.
Well, Dan Payne said he was looking forward to facing Mr. Peterson after repeated comments again, and you're going to have a lot of chances to get acquainted in the course of this football game. On 2nd down and long, Allen dumps it off, flag in the play. Shipman's got it, nowhere to go, and he is brought down about the 40-yard line. No gain for the Lions. And Alfred Payton is there, and that flag thrown in the Lions backfield.
Holding BC number 60.
Yeah.
Penalties decline. 3rd down.
Yeah, no question. It was actually on Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was rushing on Jamie Terrace, and it was Terrace who had to hold Peterson. Here's Terrace right here, and Peterson is coming right from there. Terrace has to do the takedown. He kind of gets that right arm up around, and then the left arm grabs onto the shoulder pads, and obviously can't do that. When you pull Doug Peterson's shoulders across like that, you're going to get called every time.
You can do whatever you want, they say, as long as you keep your hands in front of you. Let him go to the side, and that flag is coming out. A short punt there by Pasaglia as the Alouettes will scrimmage again. What a story he is. 1976 starting, 23 years, all with the BC Lions. It's a 21-yard punt there, but doesn't that make you think when a guy starts his pro career long before you, and he's still going now?
He's got like 3 pages in the fact book for the BC Lions, and you know you've been out there a long time as a kicker when you have rushing stats over his career. 15 rushing attempts for 206 yards. Pretty good average for Louis. Got passing stats. He's 19 of 33, 50%, 57% passer. Pretty good.
Not bad at all. A lot of quarterbacks would take that. Tracy Ham dumps it off. Big Mike Soles has it. Has a touchdown in this game. Has a 1st down, and he's ridden out hard there by number 3, Picasso Nelson.
Picasso Nelson taken off the Argo practice roster and played in his first game last week for BC.
Yeah, they were real happy with his play, too. Picasso Nelson had 4 tackles that were registered, but he was all around the football, and he's the reason that Jocelyn Borgello, who was the leading tackler for the Lions, was released.
And with a name like Picasso, I'm dying to talk about some artistic play, but when you see him smash a guy out of bounds, how do you call that artistic? Just good, hard football. Oh, Mike Pringle knows how to play, but like the Lions know how to play him there. David Benefield in, and you don't say this very often, Mike Pringle loses yardage on the play.
Oh, great play by Dave Chaters from the backside to read this one. Here's Chaters right here, and he's going to come right through in a hurry. He sees Brian Chu pull. When he sees that opening, he shoots the gap and is right in the backfield to corral Pringle.
And Benefield helps by finishing it off, but a great play by Chaters there, and a rarity for Mike Pringle out of the shotgun in second and long. Ham finds a man. It's Armstrong. First down and more. Chris Armstrong takes it down close to the BC 35. And once again, the Alouettes find a way to respond after a bad play.
Well, Ham just waited for Armstrong to clear. A little pick down the field, and Armstrong opens up, but pretty good move to beat Andre Strode. If Strode tackles Armstrong right there, the Alouettes are punting.
Armstrong has been right at home since moving back to the Alouettes after starting the season in Winnipeg and being let go by the Bombers. He's fit into their offensive scheme as he did last year, and has the Alouettes on the move again. Ham in trouble, but gets away from it. How'd he do that? Tracy Ham, another first down. And down inside the BC 20.
Well, Ham just looked at one side of the field that time. He wanted Jock Climbing. He wasn't there, and it started to collapse in a hurry, so he just scrambled around to try and find something. Great accelerations. I mean, it's not his first rodeo, and he gets off going like that. He's got the great acceleration up the middle.
In a game featuring 2 of the finest rushing quarterbacks that the CFL has ever seen, and Tracy Ham a couple of times tonight has put on a pretty good show. First and 10, Lions 20. Gets it away, looking end zone, and it just falls incomplete. And that was intended for Chris Armstrong.
Glenn Rogers having a great night in the secondary for the Lions. He was on the coverage there and was on Armstrong. One of Armstrong's favorite plays is to run the seam. This time Ham had 2 seams. He has Jock Climbing to the side. He's looking, then he goes back to Armstrong. The reason he looked off that way is to try and get the safety Dale Joseph to move, but it didn't matter because Glenn Rogers Jr. got the hand in there.
Ham is 8 for 14. And second down. Goes end zone again. Oh, would have been a great catch by Ben Cahoon, but just beyond his outstretched arms. It'll set up a field goal try for the Alouettes.
Steve Mohamed's been one of the pleasant surprises for the BC Lions. Damian Lyons was written in as the starting corner coming into training camp, but an off-season injury didn't allow him to play and hasn't yet this year. So Steve Mohamed stepped in and has done a nice job in coverage. Ben Cahoon kind of tried to hesitate there and open up late, and Ham just missed him.
Lance Funderburk will put this ball down at the 27 for Terry Baker. Oh, my goodness. When you're hot, you're hot. And that time he hit an upright and through to continue his perfect string. The last 15 field goal attempts for Baker have been good. Yeah. You got to be good to be lucky, though, right? 3 more points on the board for Montreal. They now have the lead, 13-11.
I've known Paul since he's about this tall.
Gord was quite a bit taller. I've known Gord and Paul since my 74 Pinto.
Paul and Gord are a couple of real classy guys.
Bingo.
We used to play sports together. I've seen him naked.
I'm Gord. He's Paul.
Why do you do all the talking?
I've taken this car to Midas for everything.
Car repairs should be no stress. If I want stress, I come to Bingo.
Cars run in our family.
Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Legendary. Classic. Precise. Sampras. Movado. The art of performance.
U.S. Open Grand Slam tennis right here on TSN.
Labor Day weekend means some great CFL rivalries, including the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Saskatchewan Rough Riders. That one coming up CFL Live tomorrow from Taylor Field.
That's going to be a good one.
John Wells and Chris Schultz. I love the call of that game.
I believe it's sold out in Taylor Field, although it's never a sellout in Taylor Field.
Eddie Brown has his first catch of the game. And across the 40-yard line. Up close to a BC first down. You have to think this game means something to Eddie Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Let go by the Alouettes, and, you know, some words exchanged through the media at Dave Ritchie. Eddie Brown didn't exactly appreciate the coaching of Dave Ritchie, and there were some pretty heated quotes exchanged. As Brown moved on to another team, ended up with the Lions after.
Yeah, I think he said something about they have a pretty good team in Montreal despite their coach or something like that.
A lot of people knowing him.
But you know what? When you're released, you're bitter. No question.
Juan Johnson. And short yardage easily has the Lion first down, so they'll keep it moving. We've had a few lead changes in this one. Now 13-11 for Montreal.
Well, it's a big series for the BC Lions, and Dave Ritchie knows it, because if they can come down and score and get some momentum going in at halftime, they'll start to get that confidence. It'll build. They'll go in halftime, sit on a lead, and think, you know what, we can win a game.
And look at the first downs. Alouettes, as they always do, control that football very well. Now BC keeping it on the ground, and listen to those pops as Juan Johnson gets up to midfield and takes a lot of hits the way Pringle does.
Rod, there is some big-time hitting going on in that field right now, and listen to this. Couple on Juan Johnson right there.
Woo. Mr. Suter, I can tell it just makes you want to be down there in that field again, doesn't it?
Yeah, not really, no.
Needing that 30-minute hot tub after every game. Oh. And there's a first down. Juan Johnson takes the pops and just keeps on going.
Great surge by the right side of the offensive line for the BC Lions. Opened up a nice hole for Juan Johnson. The Lions look like they're putting together a little bit of a running game here.
A 2-point game. And the Alouettes seem to like to play it that way, but 3 minutes to go on the clock till halftime. And with the ball in BC territory, in Montreal territory, the Lions have a chance to take that lead back when we come back.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win, and you could win $1 million. Or a Samsung Hi8 stereo camcorder, the Dirt Devil MVP Swivel Glide and Ultra Handbag, a VTech digital cordless phone, Fill a Shave with reflex action from Philips, or win a vacation trip for two to the Vias Vallarta Hotel via Air Transat, courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. Look for Old South Orange Juice, Kraft Macaroni and Cheese. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
Sumptuous coffee crisp. Bubbly cool peppermint aero. Playful little Smarties. Tantalizing creamy Oreos. Smushed into a cup of soft serve. It's the McFlurry at McDonald's.
Back at BC Place, that Lions offensive line and Mo Elouanibi opening some holes for Juan Johnson.
Talk about Mo Elouanibi playing with a lot of emotion tonight because of Adam Rita. Watch the job he does blocking Stephon Reed, who's trying to flow to the football. Mo Elouanibi keeps the feet moving, fires off, hits him low, and then drives him right to the turf. No chance for Stephon Reed to make a tackle on that play.
Elouanibi said this would be a very emotional game for him. Especially emotional, of course, because of his friend and someone he greatly admired. And you heard from him a little earlier on talking about Adam Rita and stepping down and how much that affected him and how sad he is about it. Running the football again is Juan Johnson on first down. Another good gain. Johnson has played very well, filling in for Robert Drummond.
Boy, has he ever.
And having another good game tonight.
In fact, when the two played together was really Robert Drummond's breakout game in Saskatchewan and Taylor Field. Juan Johnson was added to the lineup for that game. Didn't touch the football, but really helped Robert Drummond in the blocking capacity. Drummond broke out for over 100 yards rushing in that game.
2nd and 5. BC almost in scoring position now. Allen airs it out too far, and a flag is down back closer to the line of scrimmage, dropped down at the 40-yard line, and it came down after the ball had hit the turf, and the indication from the Alouettes is it will be against BC. Wait and see.
Holding. BC 23. 2nd down repeated.
We jinxed him. Talked about how great of a blocker he was, and then he got caught on a holding call.
Then he goes out and holds, and that pushed BC back as we have another look at what happened here with Juan Johnson.
There's Juan Johnson right there. Take a look. He's working to the outside. Little inside move there by Swift Birch, and Johnson has to fly in there and try and get involved in the cut block.
So it will be 2nd down and 15 with the 10 yards tacked on. And closer to midfield. Out of the shotgun. And they whistle this one dead just as the ball is snapped to Damon Allen.
I don't know if he got it off in time.
Time count violation. Time count violation. BC number 9. 3rd down.
So a promising drive heading towards halftime has now seen the Lions move backwards.
Well, they lose the down too.
And of course 3rd down, I should say.
Yeah.
15, moving back first and then losing the down. And losing the hope of retaking this lead down by 2 with 2:23 to go. Bisaglia out, but out to punt instead of try that field goal.
This is especially bad for the Lions and for Damon Allen. It's not necessarily just Damon Allen's fault, because he has to get the signal from Danny Barrett, and he's talking to right now. Danny Barrett may have been a little late, but especially coming out of a penalty when you have extra time to get that play in, shouldn't happen.
Thomas Haskins takes it, and he is brought down immediately by Mike Crum, backup safety for BC. And so Montreal will be hemmed deep with 2:14 to go until they head to the locker room. Tracy Ham, not outstanding passing numbers. He's had a couple of key passes, but 8 for 15 for 104 yards. But this Alouette offense is certainly not based on passing. It's much more the running game. #1 running team in the CFL.
Tracy Ham would prefer to not to throw a pass at all if he didn't have to. Most quarterbacks will tell you, if you have a running game that's churning out 1st downs, just keep turning around and handing it off.
Incredible to think that a team at 7-2 and on top of the CFL could be doing that by having the fewest passing attempts in the entire league. The option to Haskins. And more good running. Normally Mike Pringle's backup, and Haskins has another Alouette 1st down. And if the running game works, why not stick with it? It's constantly worked well for Montreal.
David Benefield was caught in between. He had to take Ham. He couldn't get to the outside in time for Haskins. Well executed play by Tracy Ham running the option.
Ball sits at the Alouette 25-yard line. Just under 2 minutes and counting until halftime. And off again, Haskins again. Haskins. Big gain, Montreal. Up across their 50. Close to midfield. 27 yards for the guy filling in for number 27. Thomas Haskins.
Sorry, Rod. What a great block by Azumo Okeke. He's going to come over here from the opposite side and just earhole Dave Chaters. Watch 53. Just knock Chaters right on his back. One of the best nose tackle defensive linemen in the game. Just got pancaked by Azumo Okeke.
And you see Mike Pringle on the sideline watching the play develop.
What a huge block. You know, that I can't emphasize enough how tough it is to knock Dave Chaters off his feet. Azumo Okeke at 6'2", 270 pounds. Just knocked down a pretty tough customer in Dave Chaters.
And one of the linemen that was with this franchise when it was in Baltimore, winning a Grey Cup in 1995.
Oh, those eyes say it all. He wants a little revenge right now.
Dave Chaters isn't used to being treated like that. Out of the shotgun. Ham airs it out over the middle. Wants Jock climbing, but that one is much too far. Falling incomplete. And Mike Pringle continues to be on the sidelines as Tracy Ham slow to get up. Took a shot after letting that one go.
Yeah, we talked about the hitting. We saw Okeke hitting Chaters and Ham's getting hit. Pringle's getting a little bit of rest because of all the hits he's taken in the game. Been a physical one.
Look at that tonight. 120 yards. The Alouettes live by the rush, far and away the best in the CFL at it.
Well, how big will that be come October, November?
Hand to pass. Out of the shotgun, nearly intercepted. This went near the hands of Picasso Nelson, number 3, intended for Ben Cahoon.
Great read and zone drop by Picasso Nelson. What you want to do is drop back into your zone, keep your feet moving and your eyes back to the quarterback. He will tell you where the ball is throwing. Watch that left shoulder of Tracy Ham. That's going to point to the target. Picasso Nelson reads it perfectly, breaks on the football, and is very nearly comes up with the interception. And if he catches that one, they're playing the fight song.
Baker to punt. Low. Driving kick. Rod Harris with it down at his 10. Gets away from 1. Gets away from 2, but a flag is down again. And another flag thrown late as a couple of Alouettes jump on him.
If that flag was on Brad Yamoka, I think that's a bad call. It was right by the Yamoka where he tried to make a block. I believe it was on Hensey Charles. Flag came down right there, but it didn't look like a clip to me.
3 flags now down on the field, and not all at the same time. The first one looked to be on a clipping call, but right while the tackle was being made is when a second flag was thrown. And so the officials will huddle up again and try to sort this one out.
Well, they have to get there and talk to the ref about their call.
Holding BC 33. First down.
So it is 3 flags, but 1 call, the holding penalty. Kelly Lockbaum. And will leave the Lions with very poor field position to start off in this drive.
Poor field position and enough time for Montreal to get the ball back. Damon Allen and Greg Mons really need a first down. At least 1, maybe 2. They want to just try and get out of the half here.
Lions only down by 2, but hem deep. Hands off. Johnson. Short yardage, but he's got some fight and turns around and keeps chugging. They pick up a couple of yards for BC. But it'll be 2nd and long.
All right, this is a big play for the BC Lions. I can't emphasize it enough. With 1:14 left. Montreal knows how big and how important this play is. Dave Ritchie's going to call a timeout. Make sure he has the right defense called. He'll talk to Tom Europe, who's on his way to the sideline. But a huge 2nd down play for the Lions. Dave Ritchie knows he can hold them here. He'll get the ball on the Lions side of the field with chance to get some points before the half. So they're going to make sure they get it straight down there. Gene Gaines conferring with Tom Europe.
Gene Gaines, defensive specialist, great defensive back. Seeing him on the right of Dave Ritchie. He had a great career in the Canadian Football League, and another former BC Lion coach, was an assistant here for a number of years with Dave Ritchie.
This is a big play.
1:14 on the clock. Allen throws. Nearly picked off. Oh, my goodness. Baron Miles had a touchdown had he hung on.
Baron Miles read Eddie Brown's mail before he got it. This was nothing but a down and out cut for Eddie Brown. Damon Allen has to throw it before Brown comes out of the break. The ball is thrown behind Brown. And Baron Miles, I think, is just too surprised. He's up here at the top of your screen. He's going to break underneath. He just can't come up with a catch, or he's in the end zone.
A good punt by Pasaglia. Driving back. Chris Wright takes it at midfield. Good return brewing. Taken down at the 45. And already the Alouettes are in field goal position. It would be a 52-yarder for Terry Baker.
That's right.
1 minute exactly on the clock.
So the timeout was pretty good call for Dave Ritchie. Got the defense he wanted. Got the good break by Baron Miles. Well executed. And now, with a minute left, a golden opportunity to come away with at least 3 points. Maybe the major, with some serious momentum going into halftime.
BC's game in Montreal a month ago saw the Lions leading at the half and down by just 2 at quarter time before Montreal eventually won it by 6. They chase Ham all over the place, and he finally gets it away. Incomplete. Beyond Matt Cody. It'll be 2nd down. 51 seconds on the clock. The longest kick for Terry Baker this year was 50 yards, and as it stands right now, it would be 52 yards, depending on what they do in second down.
That's a tough throw to make. You're running full speed to your left with David Benefield breathing down your neck, and you have to turn your body back across and try and throw it downfield to the outside to Matt Cody. That's a tough throw to make.
Man down for the Lions, getting attention from the training staff as Tracy Ham gets a chance for a breather on an important second down, just to improve the field position at the very least, although there's certainly enough time to drive down and think about a touchdown. 51 seconds on the clock.
Well, he's had to earn it. 5 of the last passes incomplete for Tracy Ham, and I think it's largely due to that front four for the BC Lions. They've been providing some serious pressure on Ham. David Benefield's got some good pressure from the outside. We've seen some big plays from Dave Chaders and Johnny Scott in the middle. When you're on the run all the time as a quarterback, that makes it tough to throw it down the field. You can't complete too many when you're lying on your back.
Johnny Scott, Dave Chaders, excellent this year. Just what you've been talking about this game.
Oh, no question. They've always provided the great push up the middle. Johnny Scott and Dave Chaders. And it's tough when you have to try and double team both those guys. You leave the one-on-ones to the outside, and that allows David Benefield to get in a one-on-one with a back. And that's the matchup the Lions defense wants. They want Benefield to go one-on-one with a guy like Mike Souls. They feel like they have a pretty good matchup there if they can get it done.
Out of the shotgun. 2nd and 10. Dumps it off to the other side. Nearly complete to Jock Climby. He floated it nicely over Picasso Nelson, but just falls incomplete. And so it will be a 52-yard try for Terry Baker.
The old pro has seen it a few times, hasn't he? That's all right. Incomplete. No problem. We'll send the field goal team on. We'll go in at halftime with the lead. Now remember, with Rod Harris and Al Shipman back there, a miss by Terry Baker from way out here. You got an exciting play on the return.
He's made all 15 of his last 15 tries, but this one would be the longest of the year for him and is just good. He's completed 16 straight, including that one, a 52-yarder, and with 40 seconds on the clock, could give the Alouettes a little bit more breathing room heading to the locker room.
When you're on a roll, you can smile.
His last one he hit off one of the uprights, and you saw a similar type of smile. When it's going well, it's going well.
It's really, you know, you talk to kickers about it. They always talk about the comparison to the golfer. And they'll say, you know, it's just like when you get in the groove and you're just swinging the club perfectly. It's the same way with the kicker when they're swinging the leg, swinging through the football, get in that groove or in that zone. This all comes together for you.
Still enough time to work down for a field goal of their own as the Lions start to the 35, driving up the impressive Juan Johnson, and close to, and should be another BC first down.
Now they want to get that hurry-up offense out there. Juan Johnson's done a nice job running the football, and it's primarily been to this side. Jamie Terrace on that side over there with Mantica. And nice little cutback block. You see the big block by number 60, Terrace.
They get it up to the 45. They'll need at least 20 more yards here. 22 seconds on the clock. That one falls shy of Jim Sandusky, and Damon Allen knocked down there by Peterson. Doug Peterson giving him a knock, and Sandusky still without a catch in this game, with the leading receiver for the Lions this year.
Yeah, Damon Allen couldn't get the full mustard on that throw. He had Peterson coming from that passing side, or his passing hand side, and he just couldn't get enough mustard on it to get it out there. Good completion percentage there for Damon Allen, but he needs to go down the field a little bit more with the football.
It's been typical of Allen's season so far. Not a bad percentage, but not many yards. And up Johnson. Oh, look at him go again across midfield inside the Alouette 50-yard line, and the Sticks move with 14 seconds to go. They may just have a chance to put some points up.
Great cut by Juan Johnson. Really good vision in the backfield to break to the outside there.
Johnson racking up the yardage in this one. 70 yards. Allen to throw. Complete. Dave Donaldson takes it. In there on first down, and it's a short gain, getting out of bounds at about the 47.
Well, you need 7 yards from the snap to the holder. Right now that ball is on the 48-yard line. Am I reading 47-yard line?
47.
So you add another 7 to that.
And that is an awful lot. A 54-yard attempt.
That's quick math. Way to go. 54 yards.
Not just another pretty face. Longest of the year, 51.
Well, and again, with Chris right back there, you better cover this if you miss it.
Just about midfield. Another long attempt. And this one is actually off to the left. Might have had the distance. It was close. Chris Wright on the return, making the best of it and gets it out to the 30-yard line on the final play of the first half. The favored Alouettes have the lead, but not by a lot. 5 points heading to the locker room. Back to CFL Live at the half.
You're watching CFL Live. We're at the half. Here's your host, James Duthie.
Yes, James Duthie with the smaller panel this week, just myself and Eric Tillman. And I tell you what, we see it all the time in sports. One coach departs, a new coach arrives, and usually right away there is some sort of response from the team. And we've seen it tonight from the Lions. They're not ahead in this game, but they are playing better than they have in recent weeks.
Well, I think they're responding well to Greg Mons, but I think the thing that Mo Oluwanibi said early rung very true. A lot of the players had to look in the mirror this week, look at themselves and realize they had let Adam Rita down. They had not played like professionals, and because of the way they played with a lethargic effort, that's why Adam's sitting at home watching us tonight.
Now, Tracy Ham doesn't have great numbers again tonight, but he still impresses you, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know, he's missed on a couple of close passes, but the thing I love about Tracy Ham is the element he brings to the offense, the big play capability. You get him outside the pocket, and he has a potential to make the big play. You see him here, just his ability to take off, get upfield, make things happen. Since he's come back the last couple of weeks from that injury, Montreal's a different football team, James.
Lions doing a decent job containing Mike Pringle as well. He has close to 50 yards on his way to perhaps another 100-yard night, but they're doing a decent job.
Yeah, well, the beauty of a Mike Pringle is that you run the search, you run the counter, and then boom, play action, big play.
Oh, you're starting to sound like Schultz now.
No, his boom's a little louder, but, you know, the thing is, when you've got a guy like Mike Pringle, you have an opportunity to make the big play off, you know, play action. And you know, I think in the second half, you'll see more of that from Montreal.
Now, you did it a little bit there, but I was figuring because Schulte wasn't here and you were feeling lonely, I would try to play his role tonight. So I'm going to give it a shot. My comments on the first half as Chris Schultz. Well, I think the key to the first half was the offensive linemen. The offensive linemen are the most underappreciated players in football. And the key to the second half will be the offensive linemen. Bad. Something like that anyway. We miss you, Schulte. Schulte will be in Saskatchewan tomorrow for the Saskatchewan-Winnipeg game. And you know, a big day for football, big weekend for football. The CFL Labor Day games, week one in the NFL. And yes, the CIAU kicked off today. Here are your scores from day one.
Welcome to Nanaimo, home of the bar, and Vern Goldsberry's Midas.
Vern over there at Midas, he saves me quite a bit of money. It's not like I'm a philanthropist.
Vern is an honest guy, and it's got breath that's very minty.
Midas does a good job at a fair price, and has a nice current selection of magazines.
Sometimes I see Vern coming off the ferry, and I say, hey, Vern.
Hi, I'm Vern Goldsberry, and this is my family.
Car care, dental care, it's all about trust.
The sea is a cruel mistress, but Vern is kind.
Midas Car Care, it's the way it should be.
CFL football is one tough game. Touch football is one fun game. Football Canada and Football Ontario invite you to have some fun. Join one of the many adult touch football leagues across Canada. The Canadian Football League, along with Molson Canadians, support their efforts. Call Football Canada.
Our players of the week from last week, yeah, guess who? Mike Pringle, 29 carries, 153 yards, 2 TDs against Calgary. Imagine having 1,000 yards at the halfway point of the season. On D, Kavis Reed, the Eskimo DB, makes his presence felt immediately after returning from the NFL. And the top lineman, Pierre Verchevel. Yes, Pringle doesn't get all those yards on his own. Verchevel and his line mates opening up all sorts of holes for him. And this is just the beginning of Labor Day weekend in the CFL. Tomorrow, more than 30,000 expected in Regina as the Rough Riders host the Bombers. Here is a preview of that matchup.
My injury feels good. You know,
as close to 100% that I think I'll get this season, and it feels good enough to play, and I don't foresee it being a problem in the game.
I think our attack's been fine. I don't think that's been the problem. I just think it's a matter of getting 12 guys going the same direction at the same time on every given play, and that's something we've had a problem with. You know, you look at our game film, we have 9 doing their job, 8 doing their job, 7 doing their job. We rarely get 12 doing their job, and if we do, usually you see a significant gain, and that's when the talent takes over. So for us, it's just a matter of getting the 12 guys to do their job, you know, on the same given play.
Yep, TJ needs some help. We've got it for you beginning at 5 Eastern tomorrow. A lot of people think this could be the weekend that the Bombers break through, but Mr. Tillman, Saskatchewan needs this one badly.
Well, Saskatchewan's had a tough run. You know, they've lost 6 in a row, but if they can come back and get these next 2, you know, if they can win the next 2 back-to-back, then they're very much back in the race for, you know, for a playoff spot. So it's a real challenge for them, and I think for Winnipeg as well.
Now, what do you do if you're Winnipeg? You know, every week you want to say, we got to keep trying, but at some point the guys are almost ready to give up.
Well, I think this sounds trite to say that they're a much better football team than their record indicates, but it's true. I mean, they've certainly struggled at the quarterback position, and that's well documented. But I think right now at Winnipeg, you play for pride. I mean, these are professional athletes. There's some guys on that football team that are great character guys like Craig Hendrickson, Chris Perez, Joe Fleming. I think if you're Jeff Reinbold or Gary Hoffman, coaches on that staff, you challenge them, and you appeal to their pride. You know, whether they make the playoffs or not, I think they want to come out and make a statement these next 2 weeks, and if they get a couple wins, hey, who knows what might happen.
And these are your 2 last-place teams in the standings, but quite often, a battle of last-place teams. We saw it a couple of weeks ago with BC, and Winnipeg can produce some of the best games we have in the CFL. And here are your CFL standings as we head to commercial. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Sometimes the temptation can be too much. But if you've decided to quit smoking, Nicorette nicotine chewing pieces help take away the cravings for a cigarette. And that's half the battle. Nicorette, because you're bound to be tempted.
A diamond is forever, and a relationship that lasts forever needs a brilliant beginning. Enter the Brilliant Beginnings contest at Any People's Jewelers for a chance to win a stunning diamond engagement ring or one of 3 diamond solitaire necklaces. Pick up your entry at Any People's Jewelers. Match up sports personalities with the sport in which they achieved a brilliant beginning and deposit your entry for a chance to win. Start your engagement with a brilliant beginning. A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Your favorite CFL team now has their logo on your favorite credit card. It's the CFL MasterCard credit card. Support your team and take advantage of the benefits that over 346 million MasterCard cardholders worldwide are enjoying. Each stylized card has your team's logo on it. So support your team 12 months a year and pull out your card. Call 1-877-4CFL now for your CFL MasterCard credit card. When you pay with us, you play with us.
There are no unimportant words. As a speech-language pathologist, I'm trained to evaluate and treat speech and language disorders because everybody deserves to have a voice.
A message from the Canadian Association of Speech-Language Pathologists and Audiologists. 1-800-259-8519.
Your first half statistics, well, Montreal dominating somewhat in offense. They have the advantage by almost 100 yards in net yards. But again, BC hanging in there. They're only down 5 points, and the only stat that really matters on the scoreboard. And I tell you what, when you have a new coach and when you're a huge underdog and when your record is 3-6 and you're playing a good team, why not take a chance? And that's exactly what the Lions did early in this game. They brought the house as the Alouettes were punting deep in their territory. And I tell you what, it paid off. Here's our key play of the first half. Yep, everybody's coming on this one, Mr. Tillman, and it'll be Sean Graham who is going to get to Terry Baker and block it. And, you know, after being down 7-0, they get the recovery from Dale Joseph. They go in for a touchdown. that makes a big difference.
Well, Graham gets a free release. Nobody gets a hat on him there, and it's a big play and changes the field position. In close football games, special teams are often the difference in winning and losing, and that play could come back to haunt, Montreal.
Now, all 3 games tomorrow in the CFL tomorrow and Monday are looking like sellouts. So you're not going to get a ticket probably this weekend, but you can get a ticket to future games and get out and see one. Here's the ticket information in your area.
Well, hello again, and welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. As you saw earlier Saturday, right here on TSN, Mark McGuire continued his assault on Roger Maris's home run record of 61 against the Reds. McGuire 0 for 3 with a walk versus the Reds on Friday. But in the first inning, the 2-0 pitch, and it is gone. It stays fair, and it is number 60, tying Babe Ruth for the second most home runs ever in a single season. The Busch Stadium crowd is going wild. Third inning, McGuire back up, facing Dennis Reyes again, but Reyes fans him in the 5th. McGuire facing Mike Remlinger, but Remlinger sits him down. But Big Mac ties Babe Ruth's 60 homers as the Cards win it 7-zip. Now McGuire could break the record with a pair of homers against the Reds Sunday. He faces Brett Tomko. Sammy Sosa hit his 58th on Saturday. The Cubs continue their series with Pittsburgh on Sunday. We're back to the ball game right after this.
A champion's pedigree.
We are a company built on engineering mastery. 300 gives us an all-out engineering car. It has put real fire and spirit into the whole job we do.
Introducing the all-new 99 Chrysler 300M Sports Sedan.
It's unique, and it's exciting, and it's a basic automotive experience.
The most horsepower, the most torque, and the widest stance in its class. The Chrysler 300M. The technology has changed, but the soul lives on.
Giving NFL Game Day 99 better graphics and gameplay was easy. The hard part was deciding between all the new end zone celebrations.
Party!
That's nice.
Looking good, Terrell. No! I ain't did it!
Just fine. Less is more. But hey, when the results are game this real, it's worth the trouble.
Stop that, please.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
PlayStation.
Now the most trusted name in winter boots goes to work. Made to take whatever the work could dish out. Sorel protects you better, lasts longer, and feels more comfortable. Get Sorel working for you, whether you're kicking in or just kicking back. Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original.
It's coming. If you can't get enough, this is for you. Take a deep breath and get ready to take the plunge. Shark Week, beginning Sunday, September 13th, only on Discovery Channel.
Back at BC Place, and it's Tracy Ham's Montreal Alouettes with the lead at halftime in the air attack. Have a look at that. This is brought to you by Sorel, rugged, Canadian, original footwear, and the distribution. Not a great passing half plan for Tracy Ham.
Not really. He's had a little more success to the right side of the field, and one of the reasons for that is that Tracy Ham is a right-handed quarterback. It's an easier throw to throw to your right. That's probably one of the reasons he's had more success out that side. Also, Chris Armstrong will line up on the right side of his formation. And then when you look at Damon Allen's numbers in the same hit chart, Damon Allen has had success to the outside, not a whole lot down the middle, but his longest pass in this game has only been 20 yards. Most of the completions have been underneath. What Damon Allen wants to do, I think, in the second half is maybe go down the field a little bit more into the 30 to 40 yard zones and try and stretch that Montreal defense a little bit more.
That's been the thing about Damon Allen this year, especially, that I know you've talked about and that we've noticed, and it continues tonight, just not throwing very far down the field. and one of the reasons why that Lions offense has been so unproductive. And I guess in the past, the one thing that always worked in his favor was efficiency and not throwing the interceptions, not making the mistakes. But that has been totally the opposite this year. It's been killing him.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, it's not all Damon Allen's fault. I mean, he has to go to the read that takes him to the receiver he's got to throw to. And because of the offense he's working in right now, it's a lot of underneath patterns. The other thing is he doesn't have the big play guy.
And he might get next week in Alfred Jackson. We saw earlier on off the kickoff. BC with the football and will scrimmage about the 37-38 yard line. We look at Juan Johnson coming in, and a nice first half for him. Once again replacing Robert Drummond. He had 104 yards last week against Hamilton. You see 13 carries for 70 yards. Pretty impressive way to get things going for BC in his last couple of games.
Yeah, and I think one of the key points for the BC Lions has been the play of their offensive and defensive line. I think they're playing the best they've played yet this season.
Field position quite often has not been a problem overall for either of these teams, although there have been some deep starts and good defensive play there as Johnson is going absolutely nowhere.
Great tackle by Brian Clark. The Montreal Alouettes feel like he may be a candidate for the Rookie of the Year in the CFL this year. He's going to flow to the football and really come up with a huge hit on Juan Johnson. He gets off the block, slides across, and really lowers the boom.
Alouettes chock full of good defensive rookies, because Baron Miles is another name they might be selling as a top rookie as well. On second down and long, that one through the hands of Dave Donaldson, and Baron Miles bears down.
Danny Barrett threw that ball. So we've seen a change for the first time this year. Greg Mons has decided to go with the backup, the offensive coordinator, Danny Barrett. Really threw a strike there. Talked to Barrett yesterday. He said, you know, he's really focused in on becoming a player. I mean, playing again. I mean, he is the offensive coordinator, but he says right now my focus is 100% on playing.
That was Barrett's first pass since 1996. He didn't play at all last year. Chris Wright on the punt return actually backpedals, ends up losing yardage after catching it, and ends up inside the 30-yard line. Alouettes will start from there. So yes, Danny Barrett brought in. Now back on the headset now, but that's something that Greg Mons had said before the game. He wouldn't hesitate.
He did, and he's made the change already to start the second half. Maybe he'd allow Damon Allen to just watch from the sideline for a series or two and put him back in. But right now, Danny Barrett, who takes the helmet off and puts the headset back on. He'll talk to Joe Powpow in the booth, who's a offensive consultant for the Lions. The interesting role now when we see him play and then have to run off and throw the headset on.
First and 10 for Montreal inside their 30. And hands off. Mike Pringle back in the game. He had a brief rest late in the first half, and it's a more good work up front by that BC defense. A short gain for Pringle. Make it 2 yards.
Yeah, I would think right now that the Lions are winning the war in the trenches right now. Both their defensive line and offensive line have controlled the line of scrimmage so far tonight.
At this rate, Pringle would not have a 100-yard game. 9 carries for 47 yards. Out of the shotgun. And Ben Cahoon has the catch. Tries for the first down. Couple of Lions riding him out there. Steve Muhammad and Andre Strode, and they put him out right around the first down marker.
Well, he's going to find the dead area in the zone. Steve Muhammad had to go deep into the deep outside third coverage, outside third of the field, and Andre Strode had the inside curl, couldn't get to the outside in time. Muhammad just fights for that extra yardage.
And it'll be close enough to measure.
Or excuse me, Cahoon fights for the extra yardage. Muhammad made the tackle. I'll get it right.
Got a few of these close calls so far. A couple of the Alouettes, and that one is indeed a first down up near the 40-yard line for the Alouettes. Mark it at the 39. Early in this second half with Montreal leading it by 5. I mentioned before they're just used to the close ball games, and we're playing BC close at Molson Stadium in Montreal a month ago in week 6 when they actually trailed the Lions coming out of the locker room for the second half. Dave Ritchie and the kind of team that he has in Montreal is used to seeing that, the close ones. Ham unloads. Wants back Cody. Knocked down very nicely by Donaldson.
Dave Donaldson does does it all for the BC Lions. He can play wide receiver, he can play defensive back, and he's playing against one of the quickest receivers in the CFL, and Matt Cody, who got in behind him a little bit, but Donaldson showed some great catch-up speed and great athletic ability to just turn back and knock that ball out of the hands of Matt Cody. Mr. Everything for the BC Lions. Nice to have a guy like that you can put in the lineup in any position. Right now, he's playing the corner.
He's caught a pass tonight, and he's knocked one down. Out of the shotgun. Ham to throw again, and this time intended for Jock Climby, but it is down and incomplete, and the Alouettes will be punting. So once again, Tracy Ham continues to rack up incompletions.
Yeah, Tracy Ham had to really throw that one with a lot of mustard on it because Dale Joseph was in a trail position, was very close to the intended target, so Ham wanted to really zip that ball, and it got away on him, bounced off the turf.
Baker standing back at his 25. Al Shipman, the lone one back for BC at his 25. And Shipman watches it bounce and get a Montreal roll. He finally picks it up and is driven out of bounds by Harold Nash immediately. Back at the BC 21-yard line, a 49-yard punt with the roll. The Alouettes with the lead by 5.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Fill-A-Shave with Reflex Action. It adapts comfortably to the contours of your face. Closer contact for a closer shave. Fill-A-Shave from Philips, our closest shave ever. Or the Business Navigator Personal Organizer from Casio with PC synchronization software and large 1 megabyte anti-loss memory. The BN10 packs so much power it's like having a PC in your pocket. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
Got a history, a way of making memories, a place you wanna be. Oh, tonight, it's never been more bright. You see the world in a different light. Alright, I'll see you tonight.
TSN Sunday Night NFL. It's your last kick at the weekend. Sunday, Oakland versus KC. The NFL on TSN. The U.S. Open Grand Slam Tennis right here on TSN.
Danny Barrett in at quarterback for the BC Lions, trying to give them a jump start. And Barrett's numbers over the course of a career that began in 1983 with several teams, including 2 go-arounds with Calgary and Toronto.
Of course, Danny Barrett is second in the record book for the most yards passed in a game when he's a member of the BC Lions, and playing Toronto in 1993 threw for 601 yards in that game. Set the record. It was broken again the next year by Matt Dunnigan.
And Damon Allen knew that this time could come, and it has. Adam Rita would not take him out. Greg Mons had said he would not be so patient. He gave him a half. The pass by Barrett is complete. His first completion since coming back after staying away, finishing off a career in 1996 and missing all of last season. Has the completion and up in first down territory for the Lions. Al Shipman.
Well, with Danny Barrett in the game, you know one thing. He knows what he wants to do offensively. He's the guy who puts the game plan together. He's the guy who helped to put the offensive game plan together and playbook together going into training camp. So he knows what this offense is trying to accomplish. No question about that.
The second member of this BC Lions coaching staff to come back and play. Jim Sandusky did it because of an injury to Mike Trevathan, who has since moved on. Winnipeg. Danny Barrett now, offensive coordinator. Coach, and back playing again in short yardage, and they hand it off. Some tough going there for Juan Johnson. They needed about 1.5 yards.
It's going to be close.
Very close.
It might be the first opportunity that Greg Mons has to make a decision as a head coach as to whether or not to gamble.
Down by 5, but down just outside his 30-yard line. What a gamble it would be, no matter how close it is. If they don't have that first down yardage, and the chains are coming out again.
I asked Greg Mons what the roles on the sideline would be. Because of his lack of experience, he quite frankly said, you know what, I don't have a lot of experience as a head coach. What I will do is let the assistant coaches do the coaching, and I'll administer. But when it comes to the decision on a gamble situation, that will be mine.
He can breathe a sigh of relief for now because it is a first down picked up by Juan Johnson. And the ball at the Lions 32. Down by 5 in this second half. And not a lot of rushing yards. Not like the Alouettes put up. That pass is complete to Shipman again, but he had to really come back for it. Irv Smith wraps him up, and so it'll be very short gain, maybe a yard.
Damon Allen looked at every receiver downfield before he threw it out there to Shipman. Shipman was the last resort.
And so another completed pass for Danny Barrett as he smiles. Second and long situation. Barrett came into the league with Calgary in 1983. He went to the Argonauts. He picked up a touchdown here at BC Place on a quarterback draw. Beautiful play for the Argos, who wound up losing to the Edmonton Eskimos in a thrilling Grey Cup. Later on went to Calgary, played in the Grey Cup in '91 in Winnipeg, losing to the Argos. High snap in the shotgun. Over the middle, complete again. Nice catch in traffic by Eddie Brown. And looks to be close to another BC first down.
Well, first of all, it was a strike by Danny Barrett. Right on the spot, but it's Eddie Brown coming back to the football that allows it to happen. Here's Brown. He's going to come down and then curl it up. Watch him come back to the football. Little post move. He sees the ball is thrown, takes a few steps back in between the coverage, and comes up with a catch.
A spark has been missing from this BC offense, and for the moment anyway, Barrett's been adding one. Lobs one on the sideline. Donaldson goes for it. What a great effort by Donaldson there, heading out of bounds. It'll be second down and 10. But what a catch by Donaldson, though. A for effort.
No question about it. Timed the jump perfectly. Clearly out of bounds, but great catch. He's made some big plays.
Offense and defense.
Absolutely.
We saw moments ago him knock away a pass intended from Matt Cody. Second and 10 for Danny Barrett. Sends 3 out to the right and looking that way. And Eddie Brown can't hang on. It would have been close to another BC first down, but it's all for naught now. Barrett and company will be heading off. The Lions will be punting.
Well, Eddie Brown came up with a big catch on the curl a couple plays earlier. He has the ball. He has a chance. He really needs to leave his feet and come up with that catch, keep the drive alive. Because that's really the only place that Danny Barrett could put the football, to the outside.
Bisaglia from his 32. Nice low driving spiral. Aimed away from Chris Wright, who sees it go out of bounds. Beautiful punt by Louis Bisaglia. And Montreal will start deep in its territory after a 53-yarder.
I don't fear anyone in the NFL. But maybe there's somebody else out there pushing himself to be stronger and more powerful than I am. Somebody who thinks he can stop me all by himself. You're not the one, are you?
In the stadium, you're really not in the Grey Cup.
Sunday, NASCAR roars at Darlington Raceway for the Pepsi Southern 500, where NASCAR's $1 Million Rainbow Warrior Jeff Gordon has claimed victory for the last 3 years. NASCAR heads south for the Pepsi Southern 500, Sunday on TSN. The U.S. Open Grand Slam Tennis right here on TSN.
CFL season's at the midpoint. The NFL season is just about to kick off, and we've got it here on TSN with a classic AFC West rivalry, the Oakland Raiders against the Kansas City Chiefs. Got that for you some more. 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 5:15 p.m. Pacific time.
The Chiefs without Marcus Allen, retired this year, Damon's brother.
And you know that game used to mean a lot to Marcus Allen with Kansas City. Of course, many great years with Oakland and a bitter parting there. Oakland and KC. Since the old AFL days in the 60s, what great games they've had. And while Marcus Allen heads to the broadcast booth, Damon Allen, his brother, stands on the sidelines, pulled for the first time this season in favor of Danny Barrett. But BC's on defense now. It's Montreal with the ball after a great punt by Louis Pasaglia. They start at the 13. It's Mike Pringle. Oh, they're doing a great job covering him. 2-3 guys knock him down, and once again, he is losing yardage or coming close to it.
The key to trying to contain Mike Pringle is to get his shoulders turned. If he comes downhill or north-south running, it's tough to stop him. But if you can get his shoulders turned so they're parallel with the line of scrimmage, get him dancing around, you got a chance.
Dwayne Knight, number 24, part of the crew that wrapped him up. It's actually a gain of a yard, 2nd and 9. And forced a pass. And Smith nearly had him. He dumps it off to Mike Soles. Good reaction there by Tracy Ham to find Mike Soles and pick up the Alouette first down. But Herman Smith nearly had Tracy Ham wrapped up for a loss.
Little Tracy Ham magic there to get out of that one, because you're right, Rod. Herman Smith had him from the outside. It's coming from the left of your screen. Ham has nowhere to throw. Actually, Dwayne Knight did a nice job of jamming receivers. See right there, that's the spin move for Tracy Ham to get outside. Herman can't hang on. Ham can pick up the first down.
And a gain of 17 yards for Montreal on the move now. Midway through the third quarter with a 5-point lead. Low-scoring ball game, but a close one. They hand off. Here's Pringle. And this time he has some yardage. Up around the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and short for the Alouettes.
That's the difference, though. He got north-south running there. Pringle's shoulders straight down the field, and it's tough to bring him down when you do that. If you can get him turned, it's a different story.
It's hard to remember whenever there was a running back in the Canadian Football League that could hit a hole with so much power and so much speed. The total package that he is, and it certainly does make him one of the best that's ever played in this league, definitely.
And a front runner for the MVP this year.
He won it in 1995. The Baltimore Stallions, the year they won the Grey Cup.
Oh,
wow. More poppings. Tell you, that front unit of BC is not giving away much a lot of the time. And 2nd and short, they stuff them. The Alouettes are going to have to punt.
Listen to this hit.
Oh. Johnny Scott providing the pop there on Mike Pringle.
First down.
Wow. And after a nice emotional play like that, it's all for naught because the sticks move on a penalty. A 5-yard play on the offside. That's the kind of stuff that hurts the BC Lions, especially this year. In a close ball game like this, they had a penalty that ended up leading to a touchdown in the first half.
Johnny Scott gets to buckle it up again and go head-to-head with Pringle.
They fake the handoff to Pringle. Ham airs it out. Wants Matt Cody. Once again, Donaldson on the coverage, but this time it is not close. It's a good 5 yards past Cody.
Dave Donaldson's been going both ways. And that's a little tiring. Running receiver, going deep, and then has to cover Matt Cody down the field.
But still doing a pretty good job of it.
He certainly is. Doing a real good job out on the corner. Ham keeps trying to go after him, but Donaldson is equal to the challenge.
2nd and 10. Alouettes with the ball at their 45. Passing again. Pumps once. Nearly picked off. He wanted Jock Climby. And good coverage there again. Dale Joseph.
Well, they've been battling Dale Joseph and Jock Climby all game. Joseph is in the hip pocket of Climby and has great acceleration. He comes down. You're going to see Climby come across. Now watch the acceleration of Joseph. Great speed to beat Climby to the football. Just can't come up with the catch. Here they are right here. They're going to make their way this way. Now watch the acceleration right there as Joseph knocks that ball out. And then when he realizes he doesn't have it in his hands, he thinks, better make the tackle.
Montreal to punt again. Terry Baker from his 35. Shipman, the lone man back, lets it bounce, takes it at his 26, and doesn't get much more. About a 4-yard return after a 40-yard punt. And the Lions will scrimmage from their 30-yard line, and Danny Barrett to be coming out again. Had a couple of big completions on that second drive. However, it ended up ultimately being snuffed out. Eddie Brown couldn't hang on to one. So 3 for 6 and 19 yards.
Down. Well, and one thing he did do in that last series was he went deep down the sideline to Dave Donaldson. Donaldson made the catch out of bounds, so the play didn't count. But what it will do is get the defensive backs for the Montreal Alouettes to back up a little bit. Give them a little more room underneath for some curls and some outs.
The Lions penalized on the return, and therefore instead of the 30, they will scrimmage from their own 17-yard line. More work to do for Danny Barrett in his second go-around as a BC Lions quarterback. Drops back over the middle, complete. Rod Harris up to the BC 45, first down.
Nice play action fake by Danny Barrett. Juan Johnson. The secondary for the Alouettes hesitated a little bit, and Tom Europe can't get across in the seam pass to Rod Harris.
Big catch by Harris. Was with Saskatchewan last year and was cut by the Edmonton Eskimos this year. Gain of 27 yards. Big first down for BC, and Doug Peterson moves. Did he see some movement on that BC line as the flags go down?
I don't know. They look pretty.
It looked pretty still, didn't it?
Yeah, sure did.
Offside. Montreal 94.
Yeah.
Still first down.
Listening to a new snap count. Here he is right here. Check out that offensive line. I don't think they move. Not a chance.
How much can a defensive line be tricked when there's a quarterback change?
It throws you. It throws you off for a series or two.
1st and 5. And on the draw, Juan Johnson is going nowhere. In fact, he'll lose yardage. Probably a couple. It'll be 2nd and long.
This is what's supposed to happen on this play. The BC Lions offensively are hoping that Payton, who is right here, will go straight up the field in containment. They're not going to block him by design. They're hoping that he'll go up and try and contain. Payton says, not this time. Slices in there and hits Juan Johnson in the backfield.
2nd and 8. The 47 for BC. Barrett has been willing to throw deeper than Allen. Completes this one. Another good play to Rod Harris. Another Lions first down in Alouette territory.
This is a situation of quarterback and receiver being on the same page. Rod Harris saw the outside coverage by Miles. Danny Barrett saw the same thing, and they just hook up in a hurry.
Gain of 17 on that play. Barrett calling things out at the line and handing off this time. And things are opening up in the middle for Juan Johnson. Another big gain, another first down to the 35 of Montreal.
Danny Barrett's got him on a roll right now. He's in the hurry-up offense. For a veteran quarterback like Danny Barrett, he can see the defense now because Tom Europe, the safety, will have to call the coverages on the fly, and he'll call them out loud. Danny Barrett will pick up what he's going to cover. He knows where he wants to throw the football or what play he wants to run before he even comes over the center.
This is as lively as the Lions offense has looked all game. Out of the shotgun, Barrett gets out of trouble. Still in more. Wrapped up. Swift first, couldn't get it. And he just throws it away downfield. It'll be 2nd down. Barrett doesn't find a target, but he does do a good job at eluding some pressure.
Well, good decision to throw it out of bounds at the end of the play and save the loss, but great coverage downfield. Montreal secondary were all over the receivers for the BC Lions. Barrett really had nowhere to throw the football and just threw it away.
Well, at the very least, BC's got a good chance of coming away with 3 here with 2:49 left to go until quarter time, and they're down by 5. As Greg Mons looks on. His first head coaching stint in the Canadian Football League. Barrett airs it out. Wants Eddie Brown, but the closest to it is number 31, Baron Miles. Incomplete in the end zone. A flag on the play. And it goes against the Lions.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Dave Ritchie accepts his penalty.
With a 5-point game, and certainly within range of 3 now, you got to wonder if the Alouettes say take
Holding.
second down again.
BC 64.
He's saying
second down repeated.
Ritchie's saying push him back.
Absolutely.
By accepting the penalty, he's taken Louis Pasaglia out of field goal range. But it does give the offense for the BC Lions one more play. Albeit it's second and a whole bunch.
Even as it stands with the 45, it would be a 52-yard attempt if they don't pick up any yardage on this play. Pasaglia tried a 54-yarder. Nearly had the distance, but pushed it off to the left. That one was late in the first half. So second and 20. Now's 45. Danny Barrett running around. Holding. Throwing down. Oh, the timing. And the catch. Eddie Brown's got it. It's not a first down, but it gains back a lot of that yardage. And a nice throw by Danny Barrett.
He looks like a young man out there having some fun, doesn't he? Danny Barrett rolling to his right and throwing back against the grain. He talked about how tough of a throw that is to execute, and he hits Eddie Brown in traffic running the other way.
With Irv Smith bearing down on him. And the ball gets to the 30, so this will be a 37-yard attempt. And that happens to be where he hit his other one from, 37 yards. This could close it to a 2-point game. For the chance of Louis. It's good. He's got a pair from 37. And the Lions are back within a field goal of taking the lead at 16-14 Montreal.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win. If your name appears, you won a fabulous trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Villas Vallarta Hotel and fly Air Transat, all courtesy of World of Vacations, Canada's #1 tour operator to the sun. $1 million touchdown to win at Safeway Food and Drug.
CFL football is one tough game. Touch football is one fun game. Football Canada and Football Ontario invite you to have some fun. Join one of the many adult touch football leagues across Canada. The Canadian Football League, along with Molson Canadians, support their efforts. Call Football Canada or Football Ontario and get in the game.
Play Safeway's $1 million touchdown to win for your chance to win $1 million. Participating products include Minute Maid, 5 Alive Juices, Purex Bathroom Tissue, Yoplait Yogurt, or Yop Yogurt Drink. Now there's a million more reasons to shop at Safeway, today's better way.
After the Lions field goal, it's now a 2-point game, Montreal. Let's get an update now from David Pratt. David?
Well, Rob, the reason that Dave Donaldson is going both ways is because Rashid Gale, just before the half, was not only pulled one groin muscle, pulled both of them. He is gone for the game, and as a result, as you're seeing, Dave Donaldson is getting two-way duty.
All right, thank you. And we have pointed out how Donaldson has done in place of Rashid Gale, the excellent corner for BC, and so far Donaldson's been doing a great job and stands out there again.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, there's a fatigue factor, but Donaldson came into camp with great shape, ready to become more of an impact player. Thought it would be primarily as a receiver, but Adam Rita quickly said to him that, you know, we may play you a little both ways, play a little defense, and in the preseason he got some action on both sides of the football.
From the University of Manitoba, Dave Donaldson. The catch there by Ben Cahoon up at the 40. Alouette first down, and he's chased by Donaldson, ridden out close to midfield.
Good vision by Ben Cahoon to find the hole. There's a lot of traffic in there when you run that little hitch screen, and Cahoon's going to catch the ball and then just kind of pick his way to the outside. Good blocks downfield. Pierre Verschavel got all the way out there. That's a long run for Pierre Verschavel. He's not a young man in his 10th season. Had to run about 30 yards on that play.
Got close to the 55. A first down. Here's Pringle up the middle. Some more pops going on there. As Dwayne Knight is the last one to keep a hand on that ankle and make sure that Pringle goes down. But another good gain on first down for Montreal.
Well, it's been a bit of a duel between Juan Johnson with the Lions and Mike Pringle tonight. Pringle with 64 yards. I believe Juan Johnson has a little bit more than that so far in this game. But this is where Pringle starts to really turn it on, second half.
Absolutely. He can do it in the fourth quarter even stronger than he does in the first, and with his strength there, he bowls his way for another Montreal first down. Tough couple of yards for Pringle, but they'll move the sticks again. And that is an excellent point about Mike Pringle. Wears defenses down. Notice that against Winnipeg in the first game of the season, where they've done a great job of containing him, but then he just keeps going and defense is let down a little bit.
Well, yeah, Rod, for the defense, it's demoralizing, too. You get into the second half and you can't stop the run, and it really wears on you.
Fake to Pringle. Ham under pressure gets away from it again. He is brilliant at doing that.
Oh, boy.
And he is down, but another good gain for Montreal on first down across inside the BC 35.
Second time in a row that David Benefield has been one-on-one with Ham. First of all, you're going to see the great play action fake by Ham. That hesitation right there gives this guy right here the problems. This is Benefield. He's got to get up in the one-on-one now, and that's a tough one. That's tough for defensive backs, let alone a defensive lineman.
And the gun goes off at three-quarter time. David Benefield and the Lions, they're closed to within 2 points, 16-14, heading to a good fourth quarter. Back to CFL Live.
You're watching CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Here's your host, James Duffy.
Okay, welcome back. You know, when a team runs a series of good plays, we're never sure whether to give the credit to the offensive coordinator or the quarterback. No problem in BC. They're one and the same. Danny Barrett has got rid of the headset, got rid of the clipboard, and he has looked very impressive, Eric.
Yeah, he really has, and I think it was very important for the BC Lions to get some points on that last drive. They did psychologically. That just helped them tremendously. But, you know, I think he's really injected some emotion into this offense. You see him here. You know, Danny Barrett's got a big-time arm. He's got great leadership capabilities, and Damon Allen's personality is a little bit more mellow, and I think he's injected some fire in this team.
Now, if I'm Wally Buono, I'm home saying this isn't the same team that played us last week. The Alouettes looked a lot more impressive last week, perhaps a little bit of a letdown. I mean, they are winning the football game, but we expected them to be winning by a lot more, I think.
Well, that's going to happen over the course of an 18-game season, but let's don't take anything away from BC. They came out ready to play tonight, and I think they've been very impressive. If you're Montreal, excuse me, you have to be a little bit concerned, though. Their defense was on the field the entire third quarter, and it's very hot in BC Place, no air conditioning. So if the defense stays out there for the balance of this quarter an awful lot, they could get awfully tired in the last few minutes.
Now, the Alouette script all season long has been fourth quarter, Mike Pringle takes over. Let's see if it happens again. Let's take you to fourth quarter action. Here's Rod and Glenn.
Thank you, James and Eric, and it's a close game for Dave Ritchie, leading by just 2, but hey, I don't think he'd have it any other way. That's a trademark for the Alouette teams. Just check out these close wins they've had. 6 of the 7 this close. They've won by a point once. They have won by 3 points twice, by 4 points, and by 6 points twice. In fact, the one game you don't see there was a blowout by standards, you might say, 8 points over Calgary, one of the top teams in the league. But that's how close it's been. And in fact, only 17 more points they've had for than against this year. In spite of that, they're 7-2.
Yeah, and down the road, that'll pay dividends, because when you've been in those close games and won, just confidence continues to grow, and then you get a close game down in the playoffs when it really matters, and you believe that you can win it.
It is second and short for the Alouettes. They're getting deeper into BC territory. They get to the 33-yard line. And on second and short, you know where they go to. But once again, a good job by that BC defensive front to make this interesting for Mike Pringle. Through 3 quarters. It's close on the scoreboard, and certainly not a blowout, although you see the big difference in rushing yards as well.
Well, the time of possession is equal, and that's what BC Lions wanted. I mean, they need to continue to try and control the football when they do have it. Danny Barrett has done a nice job in relief of Allen.
Montreal first down on the play. Play action fake to Pringle. Here's Ham in pursuit. The Lions can't get him, and Tracy Ham off and running with flags on the play after he's down. This will go against BC, and what a bad time to have it happen. It's down at their 20-yard line.
No question. They're flying all over the football with Ham taking off and scrambling again.
Major foul, face mask, BC 24. First down.
Dwayne Knight called in the face mask. How costly is that penalty? A few have gone against BC, but this one could really hurt them.
Well, Dwayne Knight, 24, right there. You can see him grab with his left hand. He's got the face mask. I thought it was Johnny Scott who may have hit Ham late, but he got out of the way in time. So it was Dwayne Knight who got nailed.
And puts the ball down to the BC 10. First down, Montreal. Up by only 2, but with a chance to really open things up. The biggest margin so far in this game has been 7-0. And the Alouettes and Mike Souls get on the board in the first quarter.
On the option, it gets away from Pringle. He gets the ball back, but they lose yardage to the BC 20. And that toss, Pringle never really had a chance at getting.
One way to stop the option is through penetration. Watch Jason Bryant get some penetration right there, as does Benefield to the outside, and that causes the poor pitch from Tracy Ham. Pringle just doing a good job to come up with the football.
And Andre Strode made sure that even if Pringle got that ball back, which he did, he was not going to go anywhere. So second and 18 on that loss. 18-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Ham looks left, complete. And they make up the lost yardage. They get it back to the 10. It's Ben Cahoon. And that'll set up third down and a field goal.
Cahoon has made some tough catches in this football game and came across the middle where the traffic usually are hanging out and kept concentration on the football.
Boy, the BCD coming up big there. And Terry Baker has made 16 straight, including a 52-yarder, including one that went off the uprights. This one, a chip shot by comparison. Was 17 yards away, up and good. 17 straight for Baker. And once again, the Alouettes have a 5-point lead, but it's all still within a touchdown here at BC Place.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won Dirt Devil MVP Swivel Glide Vacuum with patented rear swivel casters and the Ultra Hand Vac with onboard tools. Dirt Devil, powerful vacuums that are incredibly easy to use. Or a Zenith 27-inch digital-ready stereo television with 530 lines of resolution, universal night vision glow-in-the-dark remote, and SEQ front surround sound. Zenith Entertainment, just like they like it. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
Break through to the new world of Mach 3 from Gillette, the first triple blade shaving system. 3 blades specially positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3. So you don't have to shave the same area over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette.
The Molson Canadian Championship Racing Series is headed for Laguna Seca, California. September 13th, get up to speed at the Grand Prix of Monterey. See it, live it, only on TSN.
Yeah, baby, Friday Night Football. Adidas Friday Night Football returns next Friday night from Commonwealth Stadium, Calgary and Edmonton. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. The return match after their Labor Day meeting coming up this Monday. You want some tickets? 403-448-3757. And you know tickets will be in demand at Commonwealth for that one, whenever it's the 2 bitter rivals from Alberta.
It's back to school night in Edmonton every year. It's always about 40,000 plus Commonwealth.
Out of the shotgun, Barrett back in with the Lions. Al Shipman takes it on the side, picks up a block, and turns what looks into be a small gain into about 10 yards, close to a first down.
That was actually a signal from Danny Barrett, not just flexing his muscles there to the bench. A nice play by Al Shipman to beat Douglas Kraft in the open field. Of course, got a little help from Dan Payne, who was rumbling over there to throw the block.
Second and short, but a foot away. Barrett keeps it himself. And gets up over the 45-yard line.
Merritt's looked good. I mean, he's come in the second half. He's kept the Lions in the hurry-up offense and looked quite sharp considering he hasn't seen any game action for so long.
Keeping it in hurry-up on the first down.
Hands off to Juan Johnson. Good run for Johnson. Still on his feet. Over midfield and rumbles down inside the 45 to the Montreal 42-yard line. Gain of 21 yards.
The right side of the offensive line for the BC Lions have had their best game of the season. Watch to the right. Here comes Juan Johnson, and watch this hole. He's going to see Jamie Terrace gets out there. Craig Hendrickson, or Scott Hendrickson, excuse me, the brother gets out there. Nice block and pretty good moves for Juan Johnson downfield.
And Johnson has it again. They go right back to him on first down, and he gets down to inside the 40-yard line. A gain of about 3 yards. Greg Mons has picked an interesting game to make his coaching debut. It has been close.
Well, he said he'd be very surprised if his team didn't come out and play with emotion, and I think they have so far tonight.
Juan Johnson had 104 last week in Hamilton, and he's beaten that. 2 straight 100-yard games. Out of the shotgun. Danny Barrett. Oh, he had a sure completion, and Johnson could not hang on. And with Tracy Gravely covering, he might have had a shot at getting to a first down.
This is the one I always think that this one should go in the running backs stats, not the quarterbacks. Danny Barrett will get the incompletion, but he can't throw it any better.
He had some room, and instead they're in field goal position. 10:07 to go in this fourth quarter, 19-14. It's been a close game all the way, and it could be cut to 2 again in this attempt. About the 47-yard line. And he pushes it off to the left again. And Chris Wright takes it and will dance around a bit in the end zone before ultimately kneeling down. They cover him off, killing some seconds off the clock, and finally running out. 9:43 to go. Another point on the board for BC.
Well, hello again, and welcome back to TSN Tonight. I'm Lisa Bose. Hope you're enjoying the football game. We will get you back there in just a second. Let's update some baseball for you. The Blue Jays continuing their set with the Red Sox Saturday afternoon. The Rocket, Roger Clemens, looking for his 13th straight win, and in the first, he gets some runs to work with, courtesy of Sean Green. He is the Jays' first 30-30 man, having quite a campaign. That's number 31 on the season. 1-zip Toronto 2 batters later. Carlos Delgado tees off. He's having a solid season as well. That's number 28. 2-zip Toronto. Clemens had a streak of 32 scoreless innings until the 4th when Darren Lewis with the flare to right. Mike Stanley is in, but the Jays do win the ball game 4-3. The Rocket breaks Dave Steeves' 10-year team record for scoreless innings at 33. And both Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa went deep Saturday. Sosa sitting on 58, McGuire sitting on 60. We're back to BC Place right after this.
See it, live it, TSN.
Louis Pasaglia not happy after missing one from 47, but it looked to be trouble on the hold. And who better to explain that than a guy that for years in his career was a holder for Saskatchewan's Dave Ridgway.
Well, yeah, we talked about the relationship between the holder and the kicker, and Louis Pasaglia has Kahari Jones, a third-team holder, or third-team quarterback, as his holder. You see, he double pumped it there. And when you have a long one, especially on those long ones, it has to go down clean.
On the miss, the Alouettes take it from their own 40. And Pringle finds a hole up the middle. Look at Pringle go. Still on his feet. Across midfield and to the BC 50-yard line.
Great block at the point of attack by the pulling guard. Watch David Benefield. Here comes Pierre Bercheville. Bam! Folds that block right there in the middle of the middle of your screen. That allows Pringle to bounce to the outside. He makes one guy miss, and Picasso Nelson. And hey, you got a gang tackle, Mike Pringle.
Chewing up lots of clock. That's where a running game really pays off. A swing pass to Pringle. And he's still on his feet. Across the 30. Takes two more to take him out. Jason Bryant rides him out at the 20. But two big plays by Mike Pringle have the Owls knocking on the door again.
How many times have we seen Mike Pringle take control of the football game in the dying minutes? A little pass out there to Mike Pringle, and then you can't tackle him with one guy. That time it was Noah Cantor who tried to wrap him up, and he just ran right through the arm tackle.
Pringle doesn't have a lot of receiving yardage, but you give him something short like that and let him do the rest. Give him some open field and really hurt a defense, as he's been doing, as he's doing again. Big opening. Pringle down inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. 3 plays by Pringle. They're inside the 10, and they're close to a touchdown.
Yeah, we talked a lot about number 27, obviously, but this offensive line in the fourth quarter is really starting to play well. Pierre Vercheval, again, another block on Picasso Nelson right in the middle of your screen, just enough to get Pringle to the outside, and then it's the safety, Dale Joseph, who has to make the tackle.
It's first and goal. Alouettes, 7-yard line. Ham passes this time. Touchdown, Montreal. Matt Cody's got it. And the Owls have the biggest lead of this ball game.
It's the fade route to the outside, and it's all timing. Tracy Ham throws it out to the outside shoulder of Matt Cody. It's a perfect pass where only Cody can come up with the catch. And there's really not a whole lot you can do as a defensive back. I mean, look at that one-hander to the outside and pulls it in.
What a catch by Matt Cody.
Steve Muhammad was in the best position he could have been in the coverage and still couldn't stop it.
Touchdown number 4 in the year for Matt Cody. And how important is this one with the extra point? A little bit more breathing room now for the Montreal Alouettes. Tracy Ham, reason to celebrate.
I've known Paul since he's about this tall.
Gord was quite a bit taller. I've known Gord and Paul since my 74 Pinto.
Paul and Gord are a couple of real classy guys.
Bingo.
We used to play sports together. I've seen him naked.
I'm Gord, he's Paul.
Why do you do all the talking?
I've taken this car to Midas for everything.
Car repairs should be no stress. If I want stress, I come to Bingo.
Cars run in our family.
Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
There are times when it becomes a battle of will. When gaining ground means losing blood. When exhilaration meets exhaustion. When the vision of your goal is blurred only by the tears in your eyes. And either you have it in you or you don't. Gatorade. Is it in you?
Four plays, 70 yards, 3 of those 4 to Mike Pringle, and then the one to cap it off, Glenn, going to Matt Cody.
Yeah, I called it the fade route. And for those people who don't understand or know what the fade route is, this is why they call it that. Matt Cody's going to work to the inside and then fade it down the sideline to the outside in the corner of the end zone. Watch how he starts to fade. There's the inside move, and then fade it to the outside and keep fading to the sideline. Keep that separation from Muhammad, and then he comes up with a great one-hander.
What a marvelous catch by Matt Cody. This Alouette team only led BC by 2 after 3 quarters. The same story in Montreal a month ago. They only had a 2-point lead. They wound up winning by 6, and now they lead by 11, the biggest margin in this game. It's Al Shipman on the return, trying to get outside Tracy Gravely. He does, but he ends up just running out of bounds at around the 25-yard line.
Rod, you know, you can teach the fade route to a receiver, but you can't teach this. This is just athletic ability. Once the route is run, it's to the outside, and then it's the one-hander. Can teach a lot of them the pattern.
Yeah.
You can't teach them how to do that.
Well, Cody was Hamilton's leading receiver in 1996. Spent the year away in dispute, if you will, playing in the Arena League instead, and then coming back this year, signing on as a free agent with the Alouettes. And a big play for them here in what has been a very tight football game. Danny Barrett sets up the screen. Vaughn Johnson picks up some yardage on the play up near the 30-yard line.
Well, this is a drive that Danny Barrett really needs to respond. He needs to come back and put some points on, and it has to be a major. Greg Mons in this first chance to get on the sideline and desperately needs to see his quarterback move the ball down the field in this series. There's plenty of time left, but this is a big one to try and get some momentum back.
Danny Barrett over his career, boy, he has seen a lot of big games, had a lot of big plays over the middle that time. Completed there to Rod Harris, and that's a first down for BC. Hit on the play by Baron Miles as soon as the ball arrived, but he hangs on, and the sticks do move.
You know, even though that Danny Barrett is a veteran quarterback, and when you consider that he hasn't played for so long, I'm just really surprised at how sharp he is, and there's no hesitation at all. He drops back and fires that football.
Throw again, airing it out this time again. Oh, intercepted. Torrey Hunter's got it. A good catch to pick up that ball, and Hunter runs it out of bounds to the Montreal 42. A big turnover for the Alouettes.
Well, Danny Barrett threw that one with Alfred Payton all over him. Really started to float on him. You see Tom Europe coming over to help. He was taking the man, and Rod Harris. Torrey Hunter played the football. Talked about that pressure. This is what Danny Barrett was facing as he tried to deliver that one. Alfred Payton bearing down.
That's the first turnover for BC. Both of these teams very good in the turnover department. If you look at giveaway, takeaway, they rank 2-3 in the CFL. Montreal second at +9, and BC third at +6. That turnover, once again at this stage, is costly, especially if Mike Pringle is going to start running like this in the fourth quarter. Chewing up yardage, chewing up the clock, now down to 5:03 and still ticking. Another good gain on first down, set up 2nd and 3. And he's over the 100-yard mark again, and I believe you pointed out what that usually means for the Owls.
37 times in Mike Pringle's career, 38 counting tonight. He has rushed for over 100 yards in the game. 31-32 if they win tonight. His team has won the football game.
It is the 7th time this season in 10 games that he's rushed for 100 or more, and he's adding to his total now with a big first down for the Alouettes. Killing the clock at 4:29 now, and still on the move. This is where you're thankful you have a good running game.
Well, you know, it's tough to compare different eras in football. I mean, here's Mike Pringle, and you want to compare him to like a George Reed or one of the great backs from the past. And, you know, George Reed, if you looked at his numbers over his career, he averaged about 1,200 yards a year. Mike Pringle, in the 4 years that he's been a starter, averages 1,700. But it is tough to compare. It's different time and different game.
There's Pringle again. And this time they do have him wrapped up, taken down. Herman Smith, Dwayne Knight in on the tackle there, but he's fun to watch even when he's not gaining any yardage, the way he's able to get away from tacklers.
Well, the tough thing about trying to tackle Pringle is that when you get up there in position to make the hit, you really have to brace yourself because of his power. And that's when he can give you the little move. He's got it the whole game. He's got great power running right over you, and he can also dance around, so much so that he can blow a tire every now and then.
And off he goes to the sideline. Get that tire all fixed up. 2nd and 9, the Lions 51. Passing situation for Ham. Pumps once. All kinds of time. Picks up another block on Johnny Scott. Beautiful block laid there as Ham is finally taken down. It's Brian Chu who picked up Johnny Scott just as he was heading for Ham and put him down. And Ham makes something out of it.
Oh, boy. Johnny Scott must have thought he was in a minefield there.
The 3-minute warning. Montreal leading by 11.
Elvis Stoico gives his all. No holds barred. Nothing held back. Just full out with everything he's got. Like McCain Frozen Punch goes full out with thirst-quenching flavors like grape, orange, and fruit punch. McCain Frozen Punch delivers the real fruit taste of real fruit juice every time for champions like Elvis. When you want it all, go for the real taste of McCain Frozen Punch.
McCain, full out taste every time.
The medical care at Shriners Hospitals is some of the best in the world for children with medical problems of the bones, joints, or muscles. If you know of a child that might benefit from the important work being done at Shriners Hospitals, please give us a call at the 800 number on your screen.
The tradition continues. Shriners helping kids.
Your Saturday soccer fix has moved to Sunday. TSN World of Soccer with Graham Leggett, Sunday mornings.
26-15 Montreal when an offensive lineman dreams for an open shot at a defender.
This is what Johnny Scott had to deal with. Look at this. Neil Fort first. Big fight there. He had to throw him aside. Pierre Bercheville second, runs by him, and then Brian Chu has a shot. Whoa, up and over. Johnny Scott met half the offensive line in one play.
Getting their money's worth out of Johnny Scott on that play. Well, Ham does pick up some yardage. Gets it up to the 45. They're still in a punting situation as Terry Baker sets back. As Dave Ritchie looks on. And Greg Mons getting the first-hand experience of head coaching. His team putting up a good, especially second-half effort, but fact remains down by 11 against a team that really knows how to kill time at the end of a game. And the clock ticking again now. Under 3 minutes to go. Nice spiral by Baker to chase Harris well into the end zone. And Harris brings it out. Questionable decision on that punt return. They're hemmed very deep in their own end zone now. 2:31 to go. Game story so far brought to you by the Keg. Great steaks, good friends. See you tonight.
Football, sorry, Rod. Football comes down to a couple of plays, and Juan Johnson's had a great night. But you think back to that drop in the flat from Danny Barrett, and perfect pass that snuffed out a drive. You think back to the first quarter when Herman Smith went offside. Gave Montreal Alouettes 7 points instead of possibly 3. A couple things here and there, and it makes a difference.
It's still a questionable choice to run the football out on the draw there to Juan Johnson, though, and makes up good yardage. Gets it up near the 15. Were you surprised, though, to see Rod Harris decide to run that football out?
Yeah, a little bit surprised. I mean, you want the field position. There's lots of time left to move down the field.
Gain of 11 yards for Juan Johnson.
It's 11-point difference. 12 points doesn't make it a whole lot different.
Not really. Barrett to pass. He's got Johnson. And Johnson is taken down at the 24. Greg Mons talking things over on the sideline. You know, they did give it a good run early on in this game. Montreal just recently, just like the game a month ago, as mentioned, opening it up in the fourth quarter. Short yardage on the keeper.
And I think the positives in BC, and something they can look back even if they end up losing this football game, is that they may have 2 quarterbacks now. There was always the question, when do you pull Damon Allen? Do you pull Damon Allen? Do you go the whole way with him? Well, Greg Mons made the switch at halftime. Danny Barrett has looked sharp at times, moving the football team. So maybe they have a situation now where Damon Allen and Danny Barrett can platoon for the rest of the year. Damon Allen can watch from the sidelines a little bit, get a look at the defense that he's facing, come in on relief in different occasions.
First and 10 BC. Flags go down. Early movement by the Lions, who are across the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. So this will cost BC 150 on the clock.
And I talked about some of the plays, the drop by Juan Johnson, the penalty by Herman Smith. There has been a couple of penalties in this game that snuffed out drives for the Lions.
Offside, BC 81. First down repeated.
They are the second worst team in the league when it comes to penalties. Coming into this week, had 102. It's just too many. It's not discipline, and it will cost you 14 penalties for the BC Lions so far tonight.
And certainly you indicate on the numbers how it's worked against BC, but sometimes it's just the timing of the penalty, as you pointed out before. Even if you only have a few of them in the wrong place, they can really cost you. And that's also what has happened to BC. It's not just the number that they've had. This is just turning out to be another tough night for the Lions. There have been a number of them this year. As mentioned 2 weeks ago, they lost big time here to Calgary. Danny Barrett, 9 for 16. Already more completions and more attempts than Damon Allen had. And that one interception, of course, the Alouettes were able to turn that one around and drive back and turn it into points.
The other upside for the BC Lions, and something that they haven't talked a lot about because of all the changes, is that this is a team that is still in the playoffs. I mean, there is a 3-team race for the last playoff spot because Winnipeg is still in it. They have Saskatchewan back-to-back coming up. The BC Lions have the edge right now, but because of the crossover format, there's 3 teams battling for the last playoff spot in the West Division and will till the end of the season. Despite Winnipeg's poor start, they're still in it. A couple of wins. So it's not over by any means.
Back playing here at BC Place. Barrett standing in the shotgun formation with the penalty. The offside by Rod Harris. It's a 1st and 15. Goes to the right. Nearly intercepted. And once again, for the second time in this game, Baron Miles thought he had a pick that would have ended up in a touchdown.
Danny Barrett went right over to talk to Eddie Brown because Eddie Brown broke off his pattern. Danny Barrett has to throw this on time to the outside. He wants to throw it before Eddie Brown comes out of the break, and what Eddie Brown does is stop. He turns around to break to the out and then stops there. Miles continues out there, has a good chance at intercepting that one.
Well, in the second quarter, similar situations. That time Eddie Brown was able to reach back and knock it out of his hands, but that one was clearly a good shot at another Alouette touchdown.
Executing offensively comes down to timing. And that's where the BC Lions have had problems throughout the year. Receiver breaks off a pattern, penalty here, a drop pass there. Lack of execution, and it's hurt them again tonight.
There are certain moments in Danny Barrett's career that I certainly remember. I remember the draw play as a backup quarterback filling in for Gilbert Renfro right here at BC Place in the '87 Grey Cup game. I also remember another one. Remember this? 1991, I believe, Commonwealth Stadium, the Western Playoff, and Danny Barrett, quarterback of the Stamps, and
yes.
Pee Wee Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And they upset the mighty Eskimos, and they went on to the Grey Cup. They lost that game to his old team, the Argonauts, but what excitement in Calgary, and a sign of things to come for the Stamps, who have dominated the 90s, certainly in the regular season. Although Barrett the next year wasn't around to enjoy it because they had the big deal for Doug Flutie, and it wasn't a trade, but essentially it was. Danny Barrett ended up signing with the BC Lions for his first go-around. And I remember that year dealt with a lot of the comparisons being made with him and Doug Flutie, and not an easy thing to do. Barrett's had a fine career. And it continues tonight, throwing it away to a wide-open Al Shipman. Gets up first down, up over the BC 40, but 1:37 to go on the clock now. They are down by 11.
Mentioning Danny Barrett, and I used to enjoy playing against Danny Barrett because the safety and the quarterback always have those mind games going back and forth. The quarterback trying to look off the safety trying to bait the quarterback into throwing it where he wants him to, and Danny Barrett was one of the best. He would look you right in the eye, try to look you off, make you move, and throw it the other way. It was always a challenge to play against a smart quarterback like Danny Barrett.
Got his work cut out now, though. Throws it, knocked down again. Good coverage again by Torrey Hunter, who had an interception earlier in this quarter.
This Montreal defense is really becoming one of the strongest in the league. You look at Torrey Hunter, Tom Europe, and Baron Miles, the rookie in the secondary who leads that group with interceptions, and then, of course, the veterans on the corners, and Irv Smith and Douglas Kraft, and they got a pretty good group out there, and one that if they can stay away from injuries, definitely be one to reckon with throughout the rest of the year.
It's second down for BC. Up over their 40-yard line, out of the shotgun, lobs it up, wants Juan Johnson, it's too far, and it'll be third down. Coming up after CFL Live, Sports Desk with Farhan Lalji and Lisa Bose. Oh, I think there are a few things to talk about today here in Vancouver, of course, the Molson Indy Vancouver. And I believe a guy by the name of McGuire hit another home run.
Did he hit another one? And so he's at 60.
He's at 60. That's what the Babe hit back in 1927. And Sammy Sosa takes it out again for number 58, I believe. 2 behind McGuire, and it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when for Mark McGuire.
And by how many?
This is the ball game. 1:27 on the clock. 3rd and 10 BC. They need the first down, or it's done. They make the catch. Rod Harris. It is a first down up near midfield. Rod Harris has had some big receptions in this second half from Danny Barrett.
Well, Danny Barrett was thinking first down, obviously, but boy, he had Al Shipman wide open down the field.
Barrett has operated at a hurry-up most of the time since coming on in the second half to replace Damon Allen. Just on their side of the midfield stripe. And once again out of shotgun, calling out instructions constantly. Over to the right for Johnson. Good coverage. Stephon Reed there, and out of bounds it goes. It'll be second down.
They tried to hit that play twice on this drive. One time was Stephon Reed with great coverage. The other time it was the newcomer Brian Clark. Doesn't matter what the number is. Juan Johnson's had a guy to deal with down the field both plays.
Greg Mons taking over on an interim basis. There was a lot of talk earlier in the year about John Huffnagel perhaps replacing Adam Rita. Huffnagel will be with the team, although he is still committed to coaching in the Arena League.
That's right. He signed a contract for 2 years in the Arena League, so he can't be the head coach here, but he will be a consultant. In fact, he'll join the team in Toronto next week. He's watched some game film and had some input for this game plan tonight.
Barrett and Huffnagel work together. Barrett's playing days in Calgary. Oh, nearly intercepted again. That's Torrey Hunter. He has one tonight. Thought he should have had 2. Like up until tonight, Torrey Hunter was the only member of that defensive backfield without a pick, and now, of course, he does have the one. And a player down for the Alouettes. Swift Birch is the man down. Correction, Harold Nash 00. And Greg Mons, it was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people that he is a personnel guy, really ended up getting this job.
Well, it's a surprise because when you think of some of the people that are around this organization, guys like Joe Pow, consultant, helping out with the offense after leaving Winnipeg. John Gregory is also here in BC, and then, like you mentioned, John Huffnagel. And one of the things that people were talking about, if Greg Mons, who has said and did in the press conference that he didn't want the job next year, you know, if you're only going to take it for 9 games, why not throw Joe Pow or John Huffnagel into the mix? Even if you know John Huffnagel is not going to be your head coach next year, he is one guy with experience and could be on the sideline with a little bit of experience behind him. Now, David Braley is a friend of Greg Mons and felt that he would bring the element that they needed, which was a little push in the behind.
That's what David Braley certainly thinks this team needs. And Greg Mons, as you pointed out, the start of the telecast, hasn't been a head coach since Ventura College, 1980 and 81. But very well-known player personnel man with the Hamilton Tiger Cats and David Braley back earlier in the 90s, and also with the Argonauts in 96, and with Memphis. In fact, responsible for bringing a few names to Memphis, the likes of which Eddie Brown, Damon Allen, back in 1995, working on Pepper Rogers' staff there. And we'd like to welcome now people joining us in the Vancouver area where this game was blacked out. The Lions trailing, but trying to get back in this game. Long attempt for Jim Sandusky near the Alouette end zone. And there was a chance.
Well, you know, and this has been the story for the BC Lions. A drop here, drop there, a penalty. Danny Barrett, all he can do is smile because he threw it right on the numbers, and you got to come up with that catch.
And if you are just joining us, this is the story of this game. It was close for a while. Damon Allen, you look at the numbers and wonder why he still isn't in the game. Well, that offense just not producing, and they decided instead to go to Danny Barrett. And Mike Pringle, as he is wont to do, ends up being a story in just about every game he's in. Another 100-yard rushing game, his 7th of this season in 10 games. And first time this year, Damon Allen has been shown the sideline while the offense has been out there. And he knew, he said at the start, he knew that this could happen if he wasn't producing. Pringle's all wrapped up by Herman Smith for a little bit of a loss in the play. The Alouettes took the lead early. Mike Soul's touchdown, but BC seemed to have momentum going, Glenn, when they blocked a punt deep in Alouette territory and took it in. And actually went ahead 8-7 at one point in time in the first quarter.
Well, they played with emotion. They just were facing a better team tonight. I think Montreal has proven game in and game out that they don't mind being close until the fourth quarter, and that's usually when they start to take control. And it's interesting now, Dave Ritchie's crew has really challenged the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Played Toronto this weekend.
Absolutely. Pringle on the pass. And more yardage for him up across the BC 50 down to the 47-yard line. 23 seconds to go. A foregone conclusion for the Alouettes, who will improve to 8-2, and for the moment sole possession of first place in the CFL East. Could this be their year? Remember asking Dave Ritchie about all that and the preseason favorite before the season began, before their first game in Winnipeg, and he said in that New York accent that he'd have nothing of that. He didn't like all that talk and didn't believe much about all that prognostication, but it was quite clear with all the changes the Argos were going to go through, and perhaps with maybe people not anticipating as big a turnaround for the Tiger Cats. So I think it surprised some people with the new staff.
Well, we talked, Rod, about what it would take for Montreal to win the football game. We thought they'd have to score early to take the wind out of the sails. We knew the Lions would come in with a lot of emotion. They did. Montreal scored 16-11 at the first half, so they did that one. Keep Allen in the pocket. Well, Allen didn't see the second half of play and avoid the letdown. Well, 8th win tonight.
Bruno Heppel in full backfield with Mike Pringle, who takes the ball, goes left side, stays on his feet, and gets a few more. This Pringle's amazing. It wasn't a guarantee they'd have the first down. That was on the third, and with that little bit of extra effort, the chains move again with 18 seconds to go. There's no quit in this guy.
You can't say enough about the play of Mike Pringle. I mean, you know, you always wonder, some guys play well in the regular season, and then when the games become real important, they sort of trail off. That's not the case with Mike Pringle. Averages over 130 yards in the playoffs when it means most. It doesn't matter what the game, he's going hard.
And they're just going to put it down and run it out. The clock goes down. And the Alouettes extend their winning streak to 5. Good for top spot alone in the CFL East. Chalk up another for the ex-Lion head coach, Dave Ritchie. And Greg Mond's debut ends up with another loss for the Lions.
Well, it was a decent effort for Greg Mond's football team tonight. They came out with a lot of emotion. They played close. But in the end, Montreal and Mike Pringle was too tough.
Well, the Alouettes win it. Final 26-15. We'll be back after this.
Play Safeway's $1 Million Touchdown to Win for your chance to win $1 million. If your name appears, it means you have won VTEX 900 megahertz digital cordless telephone with visual name and number call waiting caller ID, featuring 50 caller ID memory, 20 number speed dial storage, and backlit keypad. Or a Samsung Hi8 Hi-Fi stereo camcorder with color viewfinder, 12 times optical power zoom, built-in lens cover, and remote control. Simply treasured for now and for always. Simply Samsung. Enter your ballot at your local Safeway Food and Drug today.
See it all at the Molson Indy Vancouver. Call 604-280-INDY for your ticket now.
When you sweat, Gatorade wants you to peel it off for a chance to win. Look under specially marked Gatorade labels for your chance at over 1 million prizes. You could instantly win a Nintendo 64 game system or pro sports gear licensed by the NBA, NFL, CFL, CHA, or Major League Baseball. And if you don't win instantly, don't sweat it. Collect Gator points and redeem them for your favorite pro sports gear. Or get to a Gatorade TSN sampling zone for more ways to win. Hit tsn.ca/Gatorade for details. It's going to get hot this summer, so quench your thirst with Gatorade and peel it off for a chance to win.
In the game of international espionage, he is the most dangerous player. There is no conspiracy he can't stop. That's an explosive device. No enemy he can't escape. They can target anywhere they want. No army he can't take on.
I'm gonna find a place around here to collapse.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Knock On, now playing in theaters everywhere.
Don't miss the roar of the Formula One engines live from Italy, only on TSN.
Okay, welcome back. Signs of life from Greg Mons and the BC Lions tonight, but snuffed out by Mike Pringle and the Als in the fourth quarter. Joining us now is Als head coach Dave Ritchie, whose team improves to 8-2 tonight. And Dave, you know, would have been easy to let down after that big win over Calgary last week. Thought that might be happening a little bit in the first half, but not at all in the second.
No, in the first half, we didn't play as well as we could have. Came out in the second half and got it all together. Our special teams in the first half hurt us a little bit. Offensively, we moved the ball and didn't finish it off. Defensively, they played pretty strong. But, you know, they have to go out on the 5-yard line and play after a blocked punt. You're going to give a touchdown up then.
Dave, Eric,
yeah.
belated birthday greetings.
Thanks. 48 years old.
How about
32 really in Canada because, you know, the dollar's worth so much. You know?
Hey, you haven't lost to the BC Lions since you left in 1995. How special is it to come back to the place where you won the Grey Cup in '94 and keep winning?
I think it's great just to keep winning. It doesn't mean if it's the BC Lions or whoever it is. You know, as long as the Montreal Alouettes just keep on winning, and that's the most important thing. I think sometimes we play to the caliber we're playing against, and we got to work through that because you got to go out and play every week and play at your pace, not somebody else's.
Dave, I don't know if home field advantage in the playoffs would have mattered last year with the crowds you were getting in Montreal. It certainly will this year. The sellout last week. How important is it for you guys to finish in first place and lock up home field advantage?
Well, it would be great because our fans, you know, the 18,000 or the 1,705, you know, Mr. Wettenhall and Larry and Jim took a chance going down there. The best thing that happened to us was a U2 concert. And when that happened, we went down to Molson Stadium, and we've done very well down there. So, you know, it's an outside field, and we got an outside philosophy, so it doesn't matter where we play, really.
Dave, one of your strengths as a head coach has been your relationship with players. Obviously, you and Danny Barrett go back a long way. I know you love him like a son. How unusual was it tonight to be competing against him and to see him on that opposite sideline?
I kept telling Gene, go get him. You know, it's one of those things. Danny is a true competitor, and it's too bad he's not 23 or 24 because the youngster's a great youngster, and he just came out and did what stayed within his strengths, and he moved the ball a little bit. But to be very honest, though, we lost 3 or 4 defensive players, and you know, we're making makeshift now, trying to just stop them because we lost a couple DBs and a couple defensive linemen, and when you have a limited roster, that's tough.
Dave, congratulations. Enjoy it.
Appreciate it.
And happy birthday once again.
Yeah,
32, I don't buy it. Dave Ritchie, the coach of the Montreal Alouettes, who win at 26-15 tonight. We'll be back with more on the post-game show right after this. Michael Souls got it started, and the Als went on to win this one over the Lions.
The study of the human body has yielded yet another important discovery. The pain millions of people suffer is caused by the way they walk.
Their feet are hitting the ground off balance, starting a chain reaction that can pull everything up through their lower back, painfully out of alignment. Now there's Dynastep in.
And now it's time for the TSN turning point, and no question about this, coming in the fourth quarter. And it's Mac Cody, a 4-play drive, and Tracy Ham finds him for a spectacular catch. The touchdown to put this game out of reach, all coming late. The Alouettes take it. Cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN. Alouettes win their 5th straight. The Lions lose 3 in a row. Hey, it's a little Pringle. Chip off the old block. We'll be back.
Oh, he's got plenty of these. Our keg game ball tonight goes to Mike Pringle. Another great night. 21 carries, more than 120 yards. Yes, our keg game ball brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar for great steaks, good friends. See you tonight at the Keg. And it's getting to be the same old story for the Owls. Every game, it's fairly tight, and then Mike Pringle takes over in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Same old story tonight. Unbelievable, Eric.
Find a way to win, and this team does that. They play with great confidence, and Pringle just takes over the game, as we've said in the 4th quarter. I mean, the guy has phenomenal leg drive.
Now, again, not a bad performance by the Lions. They didn't look very good in the 4th quarter. But what do you do if you're the new head coach now? Do you make wholesale changes there?
No, I don't think so. You know, you have to remember tonight they played without one of their better players, Robert Drummond, who lost his father in a tragic death this week. And you get Robert Drummond back in that lineup, and if you're able to sign Alfred Jackson, those are 2 big play capabilities that they lack tonight, and give them an opportunity to make an impression next week against Toronto.
The decision to take out Damon Allen at the end of the 1st half, we know Adam Rita was a big Damon Allen fan. Perhaps Mr. Mons not as much a one. Do you agree with that decision?
Well, obviously, I think Danny played very well. I'm not sure really what his thought process was in making it. Maybe he just wanted to change the chemistry of the team a little bit. It's nice if you have a change of pace and you have 2 guys that you can play with. But Danny's been to battle, and he's won some big games, and I think they did some things tonight in British Columbia that they can build on next week, James.
Now, the Alouettes, for now, 1st place in the East temporarily. Of course, the big game coming up on Monday between Toronto and Hamilton. This puts Montreal in a great situation, especially if the Argos play like they did against Hamilton on Monday.
Yeah, I'm sure that Dave and those guys are not really sure who they want to root for. They have Hamilton coming in next week. I would think that they would be for Hamilton, because if if Toronto wins this weekend, they're right back in the race. If Toronto loses Monday at Ivor Wynne, then they're 3 games behind both Hamilton and Montreal, and pretty much behind the 8 ball.
All right, let's bring in our player of the game. Mike Pringle joins us now from BC Place. And Mike, I tell you what, this is a question I have to ask. 4th quarter, everybody else on the field is getting tired, and you just seem to get stronger and stronger every week. How do you do it?
My offensive linemen, when the 4th quarter comes, they say, pick it up. This is our quarter, and they remind me every play, just we're going to bear down on them and just run. So I do what my line tells me to do.
Hey, Mike, Eric Tillman. Talking about your offensive line, you know, you lost 2 great players in the offseason up front, Mark Dixon and Bruce Beaton, and most people thought that unit would drop off some. But tell us about some of the young guys that are stepping up and making plays for you in that unit.
We have 2 on the tackle. That's the cornerstone of our offensive line. When we acquired Pierre, he has a lot of experience. Sutherland has learned that position center tremendously, and he's come a long way. And as far as Chu is concerned, Chu is one of my favorites out there because he gives so much effort, and he talks, you know, he tries to get me fired up, and every time the ball is snapped, he's going 100 miles an hour.
Mike, I think I know the answer to this one, but I have to ask you anyway. You're one-on-one with a guy. Would you rather make a nice move and go around him, or bowl him over?
I'd rather run him over, no doubt about it. I try to, you know, mix it up a little bit, but my forte is running him over.
Rhetorical question. I think I knew the answer to that one by the expression on your face every time you do it. Congratulations, Mike. Another 100-yard game, and well on the way to perhaps 2,000 yards on the season. Mike Pringle and the Alouettes doing it tonight. 26-15 is the final over the BC Lions. And yes, once again, the story is Mr. Pringle. He does it again, getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. And the Owls, first all by themselves in the East Division.
coming. If you can't get enough, this is for you. Take a deep breath and get ready to take the plunge. Shark Week, beginning Sunday, September 13th, only on Discovery Channel.
This is original.
The U.S. Open Grand Slam Tennis right here on TSN. TSN Sunday Night NFL. It's your last kick at the weekend. Sunday, Oakland versus KC. The NFL on TSN.
Okay. Welcome back to the post-game show. Well, there is one guy Danny Barrett can't blame for this loss. It is the offensive coordinator, who is also Danny Barrett. Danny, I know it had been a long time. 1996, the Western Final, since you've been in action. You still look pretty good out there. Not too much rust.
Well, you know, thanks for that compliment and everything, but I felt a little rusty, especially at the start, you know, going out there and everything. Probably had a little too much zip on it for the younger receivers and everything. So it takes a little time. It's been a long time. I felt good being out there. I'm just a little disappointed we couldn't pull it out.
Danny, Eric Tillman.
Hi, Eric.
You're in an unusual situation as the offensive coordinator, and you could be the starting quarterback next week. With Robert Drummond expected back next week and Juan Johnson playing so well, would you like to go to more of a two-back set?
Well, that was the idea before Robert got hurt and everything. We had moved more to a two-back set, so we'll see what happens. I know that Robert wants to get back into the action. It's a disappointment what happened to his father in Syracuse, and he's excited about the opportunity to play again, especially going back to Toronto.
I know there was a lot of confusion in BC amongst the players this week. You see it, I guess, from two perspectives, coaching and playing. How do you think the guys responded? What is the mood in the locker room?
Well, right now, I think everybody's really frustrated as the way this season's going for us. For some reason, we're not playing well at home, and I think that's the biggest disappointment from both sides that I see. We need to find a way to win at home. You have to be a good football team at home, and right now we're not doing that. We played against a good football team tonight, though. You got to give them credit. It was disappointing to see what happened this week. Adam was very dear to a lot of us. He brought a lot of people here, especially myself, and I want to say hello to him right now. And sorry we couldn't pull it out for you, but I know you're with us, and I think what we have to do is continue to work hard and just continue to work smart. And if we can continue to do those things, we can turn it around.
All right, Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You don't need that clipboard full-time yet. You still got a little bit left in that arm. Danny Barrett's Lions, though, losing tonight 26-15 is the final score to the Montreal Alouettes. And we'll have more on the post-game show right after this.